live. All right. Here we go. Wait a minute here. Why is this not okay? Why is this not playing now? Oh no. Man, I had this all set up. Here we go.
It's live.
Now it's live.
6, 11, 5, 9 and 20 miles today, 4, 11, 17, 32 the day before. Boost, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Don't look at what's in front of you. Boost, moving up and down again. Men go mad with watching them. There's no discharge in the war. If your eyes drop, they will get the top of you. Boost, moving up and down again. There's no discharge in the war. Try to think of something different. Oh, my God. Keep from going lunatic! Moving up and down again! There's no discharge in the war!
Okay, we're live. We're messed up. I apologize for the boxes. I'm going to move that around.
Less of the we and more of the you. Alright? Don't be blaming us.
No, I'm not
for your
blaming you
mistake.
guys.
Alright?
I'm not playing. Logic is already pissed off at me because he's in the chat saying, yo, are you going to let me in? And I'm sitting here, I'm watching, I'm like, oh shit, he's right there. So I had to get him in.
Well, yeah. He's got a right to be pissed. He's a panel member. He needs to wait for permission.
Listen, I don't blame him, okay? I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming anybody. But but I will get everybody situated here. So
I also didn't know we were going to be on camera. Were we on camera last time?
yes, yeah, everybody.
Okay.
I don't do camera, man. Nobody needs to see that mess.
What mess? Jesus, man, get on camera.
It only took you
You don't know what I look like sitting here right now, right this second.
No, I don't.
big bloodshot red eyes, smoke hanging around his head.
Any state. It's just best for the public if they don't see that. You know what I mean?
Listen,
No,
if I
Retro, it only took to the second show before he started treating panel members like second-class citizens again. So
it didn't even take that long, did it?
Listen, if I actually stood up and all that, it'd be an embarrassment because I'm in like sweatpants.
Well, no, I'm joking. I don't give a fuck. I just can't be dealing with having to present myself. I don't need to. Do you know what I mean? I'm perfectly happy in my house coat with the hood up, looking like a fucking zombie. I'm good with that.
wearing his wife's pink onesie.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
Well, I'm glad you guys are, keeping everybody situated here while I take care of the boxes and all that stuff. But
while you're fiddling with your tech, I am going to ask the question of logic. What's the $500 million yacht like?
What?
No, that's on Discord in my podcast avatars. I'm using Gabe Newell's picture right now.
Good. So it's customer friendly, consumer friendly, and the steam machine is going to blow everyone out of the water. And Gabe celebrates by buying a $500 million yacht, and everyone thinks that he's the best thing since sliced bread, and these Sony executives and the Xbox executives and every other executive that gets paid a shitload less than that are all crooks.
Wow.
It's an interesting. It will be an interesting lane to go down because I will disabuse you of your notions of like how Gabe stacks against but I find it's. So I'll just say it's. I don't know why anybody cares. Like Gabe is not like Steam, Valve, Gabe, and are not like these generic mass scale, mass market commercial companies, right? And they only, in their footprint is relatively small. In fact, even amongst PC gamers, I don't know that PC gamers outside of a small nucleus are really aware of Gabe Newell and Valve and how Valve is structured. It's just a storefront. It's like Best Buy or GameStop. So I find it curious how the Steam machine has caused everyone to care about Valve and Steam, and I think a lot of it's not. We'll talk about it. The Steam machine is not a mass market device. It's not competing with the PlayStation. It's not competing with Xbox. Gabe is in no way trying to be, a Phil Spencer or even, a Totoki Nishino, Herman Hulst. So yeah, it's just interesting.
Apparently, that's not what X or Twitter is saying because they think it's a console. But just like he sat there and said, we will be getting to that. Because you are our tech lead. David is our business lead. And Retro and I sit back and... more I sit back than Retro does. We just listen to you guys.
I'm pretty much sitting back right now. I'm good.
Yeah, but you know what? You have a lot better knowledge than I do on a lot of things. Let's be true.
Not really.
Yes, you do.
Not really.
Well, I won't get super deep into it, but I will say to David's comment, I will say yes. If there is a narrative running around that Steam is Valve is this altruistic company that again these entities aren't human beings. They frequently get made these anamorphic things that are given human qualities, and I'm they're not individual humans, right? They are organizations and companies. I will say Valve is a little different. I will say Valve, at least in its inception, started out with a mission to not be Microsoft, right? To not be Microsoft Gaming, to do a better thing for gaming than Microsoft was. But at the end of the day, like they're not anybody's friends, you know.
I will actually agree with you on that, but like I said, we're going to get into all this stuff. So all I want to say is I don't have the chat because I'm actually trying to figure out how to put that back into OBS because it all of a sudden just disappeared. I don't know what the hell I hit. I'm still getting familiar with OBS and that, so please be patient with me. But hopefully everybody liked what I put together and that kind of thing. There's actually a little bit more stuff coming probably after the holidays because I got to finish up a couple of things. I do want to sit there and say this. So David, you sat there and you kind of fluffled the feathers of Logic with your Gabe Newell thing. I want to ruffle his feathers a little bit and say this. That's the best intro I've ever seen in a Battlefield. That came from a guy that's on TikTok, ROK.Ops. Yeah, if you go into the description, you'll see his link to TikTok and that. He makes like other kind of videos. I was amazed by that. And I will sit here and say that blows away anything Call of Duty has ever done when it comes to intros. And Battlefield 6 is by far, at least what I've read, way better than whatever the shit is now that's Black Ops 7. I mean, if you guys saw what the hell, and we're going to get into that, but what the hell was that thing? I mean, it came off to me like it was some kind of like monster from a Souls game or something like that in the screen, and you're trying to shoot it and whatever. Or maybe it was Remnant. Maybe they ripped off Remnant. It's only my opinion. I'm just saying that. But we'll definitely get.
All I know is they're tripping balls, man. That's all I know. Is that all the weirdness is because they're tripping balls.
It kind of came off like, what the hell is this thing? But just hold on to that.
I mean, I would start shooting a giant zombie if it appeared in front of me too. Like, you know what I mean?
That was a zombie?
I don't know. I don't play the COD games anymore, so I have no expectations from them.
I just do the campaigns, and I haven't caught up. But we'll get into that. How are you guys?
It's just on my thing, man, but you know that.
I know, but we got to, it's just for the crowd, whoever's here. Like I said, I don't know what's going on in the chat, so Retro, you have total control of that. You guys do. Wait a minute, don't be messing around here. Why does that do that? I don't know why Discord does that. David goes off camera, it switches all the boxes. David comes back to camera, it redoes the boxes again. I don't know what the hell this is. And apparently I paid for Restream, which I don't even know that I paid for Restream. So maybe we'll do something with Restream. I don't know. That looks too complicated. But let's get into the news, because then I want to really get into what you guys are playing. This is more of a gaming podcast. So if we did the Microsoft thing and we're letting that go. It's done. It's over with. It's a dead horse. We beat it to death. Everybody's beat it to death. We don't want to talk about it no more. But what we're going to do here for this, we're going to do maybe 45 minutes to an hour of news. But then the most important thing to me, at least, and I know you guys want to do this, is we want to sit here and talk about games. We want to tell you guys what we've been playing, and then tell us what you've been playing. Now, next month, which I got David sitting there and the wheels are turning, when I sat there and I put in the WhatsApp thing about next month and what we're going to do next month and what I got planned for my... It's just insane because I'm not going to be able to do it, but I'm going to try like hell to try and complete 100 games and get my platinums up. But we'll talk about that because I know you guys have played some of the games that I have on my list. So that's the reason why I want to talk to you guys. Logic has sat there and he's mentioned a lot about, because it was either yesterday or Wednesday on Prep, you were talking about Doom the Dark Ages, which I have not gotten to, but I am going to sit there and say, at least for me, Doom is top 5 franchises ever for me. I don't know what it is. It's that music and then the whole lore and everything. It just, it just grabbed me. So I can't wait to try and play Dark Ages in that. And I even liked, the old ones and everything. But that's definitely going to be one. So I got, I'm going to be hitting you up on that one, Logic, next month. So, but first, we'll get into the news real quick. So, first thing I wanted to talk about was the Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra getting delayed. So, I pulled up an article, and if you guys can't see my face, that is too bad because I got to read this on another screen. So, this is coming from VGC. And if this is all going to go into a topic that we're going to do in a little bit, but this got delayed till next year. They don't give any kind of a month, but the statement says, now in a statement posted on its official X account, publisher Skydance Games announced the game has been now delayed further to an unconfirmed release window. Skydance Games. Our goal is to deliver an unforgettable premium games that honor the characters and worlds we're fortunate to work with. Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is an ambitious project, and we are committed to ensuring it meets the level of quality that our team, players, and fans expect. To fully realize our vision for 1943 Rise of Hydra, we've made the decision to shift our release window beyond early 2026. So they're saying early 2026. First of all, I wanted to ask you three gentlemen, are you guys interested in the game? Is this something that, it's like one of those most anticipated games and that kind of thing for you guys first? Who wants to hit this one first? Retro?
Well, I'm looking forward to it in the sense that it's Amy Hennig writing for it and stuff. I'm a real big fan of her work. So to see her back in it is kind of awesome. I won't lie. The Marvel heroes for me aren't my favorite. I'm not overly a big fan of most of the Marvel heroes. But yeah, I mean, the game, what they showed, it looked good, man. So it could be a really good action game. But I'm not overly, the delay doesn't, really bother me, man. I mean, if they need more time, they need more time. Just what it is.
That's always a good thing who did I cut off? David, did I cut you off?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I cut you off, sorry.
No, you go first. You're more important than I am.
I was going to agree. Well, I wouldn't say I'm more important than anyone. I was just going to agree with Retro. Marvel's probably isn't my or the Marvel superhero characters aren't generally my favorite. There are some selected ones in there that I do enjoy, but this game's had a couple of false starts and now had a bit more of a longer delay. I'm curious to see what they do with it, but it feels like just in general that anything that's sort of the top end of AA or AAA games, they're getting the development windows really, really wrong. Because they're not like they're delaying them by, a month or 2 months or something to finish it off. Some of these delays are, 12, 18 months. And it's a bit concerning in that respect that it may not ever make it to market. But it's probably not a game that I'm going to end up playing, but it's one that I am interested to see on how.
Uh-oh. We lost David. He froze. Uh-oh. David, are you still there? Okay. David is having a little bit of technical difficulties. Logic, do you want to throw your 2 cents into this? I know you're big into the Marvel and that kind of stuff. I think kind of the way that, and we talked about the Marvel stuff and everything, I think a lot of us here are more kind of like maybe DC fans a little bit more. I would say Logic is probably more Marvel than DC, but yeah, I think everybody left us, Retro. I think
It might just be me and you.
Oh wait, there he is. Logic. What are your David froze? So on what is your 2 cents on the delay of Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra?
Yeah, sorry, I just stepped away to grab my energy drink out of the freezer. Games take time. Games get delayed. It is what it is. I feel the same way Retro feels, like, just in terms of, like, Amy Hennig kind of getting pushed out of Naughty Dog, and then having her game canceled at EA Motive. I look forward to seeing her get a chance. This is her first time that she's actually helmed like a game on her own, and kind of set in the center seat of actually being the showrunner and putting the whole thing together. So it'll be interesting to see if she's able to stick that landing, taking on a role and responsibilities greater than just being the lead writer. But having come from that cloth of being like a lead narrative writer, I have high hopes for, the scripting of it. I don't know if she's kind of gets like the comic book lore and things like that. I thought maybe, I need to go back and dig. I thought maybe at one point I thought she'd had some writing credits in comic books. I could be wrong. I could be mixing her up in my memory with Gail Simone. But yeah, I have high hopes for this from a game mechanics perspective, and I actually haven't looked at a lot of the gameplay. But I will say it's interesting you mentioned Doom the Dark Ages at the start, and I'm kind of like, shield throwing is one of my favorite mechanics in a video game, so it's kind of like, you want me to play your game, put shield throwing in it, and I'm there, day one, no question. So I hope they nail, if they nail that mechanic, then high hopes that between that and the writing, could go a long way. It'll be curious how well they're able to deal with T'Chaka, and the minority representation of an authentic kind of African view of the world, right, in World War II. To see if they're able to pull that off and make it feel realistic and worthwhile. So, but I look forward to it. It's not like I don't know. I don't have a lot of I don't know that I have any games that are must plays. I'm sure there's one or two out there, but I'm like, if this game doesn't see the light of day, then I'm not gonna I'm not gonna keel over and fall over. I'm not like some people who are like, if they don't get that game, they'll die. I'm not somebody who takes off work to play Cyberpunk. There's too many games out there, and when one topples over, another one, takes its place. So there are games that I look forward to, and certainly games and franchises that I enjoy, but I'm not losing sleep over any one franchise or one title. So, take the time that they need, and let's get it in place. What's curious from a release calendar perspective is you were planning on coming out in early 2026, which I believe would have been Q1. Okay. Because Grand Theft Auto was coming out in May.
Right.
Now you're slipping out of 2026, and now Grand Theft Auto has slipped to holiday. So now you got a problem. Right, and now you got to figure out exactly where you're going to scramble, right, and put that title. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Logic, and if anybody's saw the thumbnail on that's going to be a big topic, and that's actually what I want to ask you and David about. And Retro, he would actually, I'm sure he would have a good sense of it, of what these other publishers, what they're going to, how they're going to rearrange their games and things like that. Do you want to, put them out sooner? Do you want to put them out later? That kind of thing. David, I want to go back to you real quick because you froze in that, but go ahead and finish your point on what you were saying with Marvel 1943.
I was, briefly was that the delays which it's incurred, hopefully they can get it to market. Interesting to see what they do with it. It's not a game that I'm likely going to play, but curious to see what kind of different tack they can take with it, because it's, unless they're wheeling out the same, Avengers characters against Hydra, we've already played those characters in other games. Unless there's a really compelling story, which I'm sure there would be, with Amy being involved in it. It just lends itself to the question of, well, if you're not doing something different, why are they doing it?
So I hate to take the avenue that opened up for the comic book geek, but I think there's lots of places. So I feel like this is kind of like in gaming, where I talk about how gamers tend not to know history. And so it's interesting when you can present them a franchise that has some deep rich history. I think a lot of people who have become Marvel fans in the wake of the MCU don't get where a lot of these things came from. And so most particularly MCU fans and people who have glommed onto Marvel now, they're aware of like the whole Captain America, World War II, got frozen, comes back in time, right? But a lot of the comic book history behind that is in the actual 1940s, or there was a superhero group called the Invaders, who consisted of Captain America, Bucky, because in the comic books, Bucky doesn't die the way that he does in the movies, at least not in the same way and at the same time. A character called the Human Torch, who was actually an android, and Namor. And I think they came across Black Panther's path as T'Chaka back in that time period, who was actually T'Challa's father. So I actually think there's a pretty rich tapestry and lore that they can tap into to expand those stories and let them breathe. And in the wake of the MCU, they have other things they can lean on. They can lean on Peggy Carter. They can lean on the start of S.H.I.E.L.D. So they can lean on a lot of things and go a lot of different ways. One thing I was going to mention that's curious, and again, this will be curious to see when we talk about this battle between like GTA and when games come out. A unique dynamic will be games that are leaning on other IPs. And so this is a game that very, very, very seriously can say, you know what, not worried about GTA, let it come out in November, fine. You know what we're going to do? We're going to put it out alongside Avengers Doomsday, which comes out in mid-December. Mm-hmm. And then they will get a big sucking gravimetric uptake of attention and hype as people kind of come down off of the initial run through of the GTA campaign and then start thinking about the Marvel movies, right? And here's this companion type of content that goes along with it, which will help it gain some traction and gain some attention.
Thank you for clarifying, because that was the very poorly worded avenue that I was aiming for. Is that there's a huge amount of stuff that exists that it's just what I'm saying. I hope they tell a different story or a new story or something there, and they don't just wheel out here's a storyline you're familiar with, and here's characters that you've played with before, and have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with this rumors that, I don't know if it's true, but this rumor that Avengers Doomsday is going to kick off because Doom is like looking for Captain America and something that he dorked up with the timeline, and then you put out a video game that features Captain America. Not saying that the game development and the movie have whatsoever been related. They've been moving in far different timelines for anything like that to occur, but it does create some interesting opportunities to capitalize on just hype and media attention and market attention.
And they need to do more.
Yeah, because it's just like you sat there and said, if he's looking for Captain America, then you have a game with Captain America. It's like, oh, okay, you know what? I can sit there and I can play Captain America after I just got done watching the movie. I mean, how many times have you sat there and you've watched like Aliens, and then maybe it's just me, but I'll sit there and I'll watch Aliens, and it's like, wait a minute, I have my PS3 here, so I'll just go and throw on Aliens Colonial Marines, even though it got bad reviews or whatever, but who cares? I can go and kill aliens and that kind of thing. So, Retro, did you want to add anything to that? Because if not, we're going to move on to the next story I got for you guys.
I said what I needed to.
All right, well, then just stay right there, because I'm going to ask you about this. Fallout 3. There's even more reports of they're a remaster. Wait a minute. I thought
Yeah, I'll be there day one for that. If they're gonna do it and do it properly, I'll be there.
Wait
I think Fallout 3 is better than Fallout 4.
Wait a second. But I thought remasters were bad.
I don't know, man. I'll buy them all.
Yeah, but everybody got fed up with how many, TLU
I,
remasters
I,
there were.
I don't get fed up. I buy the ones I want, and I don't buy the ones I don't want. It's pretty fucking simple, man, if I'm honest.
Go back and remaster everything. I'll just cherry pick what I want to get, and I'll buy it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't understand what people's problem is with choice, man.
Right.
It's not affecting anything. Buy it or don't. Enjoy it, don't.
Yeah, because if you're not going to go out and buy it, how the hell is it affecting you? But anyway.
Well, you forgot the purpose. No, you've forgotten the purpose of social media exists for me to tell you what you can and can't do, what you should or shouldn't like, and criticize the crap out of every decision you make because you chose to put it out there. Forgot that part. That's the integral part to all of this.
This is the reason why I try not to be that sociable on social media. It's just like
I'm trying my hardest to keep my Twitter purely about gaming, man. I'm trying my hardest. I've slipped up a few times with the memes and stuff, but I can't help that, man. But other than that, I've pretty much kept it strictly gaming, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to promote some games at the moment, man. Especially that V Racer that's came out on the PSVR 2 recently.
Right.
I've been playing that since it came out on Quest, and the developers have just been so wicked with us in the Discord, man. I mean, genuinely listening to our feedback and our criticisms, making changes on the fly, giving us access to early access versions of the game, giving codes to me for the PSVR 2 version of the game. Like, the devs have just been so good, and I feel guilty about getting all this kind of extra, because the codes for PlayStation, I didn't have to pay for them, man. And they're not sponsoring me or anything. There is no sponsorship. It's just I happen to get into the Discord at the right time, and I feel like I owe them something because they've been so good with the player base and they've listened. Sorry, I can't help it.
I know.
They've impressed me so much, and it's 4 people. 4 people.
By your texting in that how excited you were in that. But I want you to give us more information. Just hold on to that information because we're going to get through these news stories and then we'll get into that. But hold on to that. But that, yeah, I took notice how excited you were and everything, and I might not be in the VR like you are or my son, but I mean, this works out great. He wants me to get him the Deadpool game, and I'm like, maybe not. We'll see what happens. But
I actually got gifted that about an hour and a half ago. Social Destruct. Yeah, he gifted it to me, so I'll be trying that out later.
Oh, you're gonna have to let me know how that is. You gotta let me know how that is, because it just by the trailer that I put up on here on the intros, it looked goofy as shit.
It does, yeah. It looks like good fun.
All right, so I'll just read a quick part of this article, and then I'll get you guys, to chime in. And that yet another report has backed up the possibility that Bethesda is working on a Fallout 3 remaster. Fallout, from a report from April that said a Fallout 3 remaster was real, but not coming soon. The new report didn't have any details of the supposed Fallout 3 remaster. However, apart from it, could be in the vein of the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster. The game launched this year to great success, featured graphics, performance improvements as remasters usually always do. Fallout 3 originally came in 2008 to PC, PS3, and Xbox 360, and it sold a ton of copies. So I bought Fallout 3. I played maybe about 3 hours, and I got totally bored from it. Crucify me. I am not the biggest RPG fan, but at the time, a buddy and myself, we had an apartment together. He worked from, I think it was 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, and my hours were in the morning. So when I would get up to go to work in the morning, he'd be sitting there and he'd be playing Fallout 3. He was just totally addicted to it. It did look like a really fun game, something I could definitely get interested in it. My wife actually played it till she got to a point where there was like some kind of an update and she missed it or something like that and did automatically update and she couldn't go any further. Something you would have to ask. She probably wouldn't remember. But Logic, I mean, are you interested in the Fallout 3 remaster? Did you even buy the Elder Scrolls 4 remaster?
I did. And I was listening to a live feed of the live stream. It sounded like my mic was a little loud. So if anybody is out listening to the stream and feels like this is better, let me know. I did buy the remaster. I've only played a little bit of it. Sure. Like you know, the Fallout games are kind of vaunted in a venerable franchise, kind of as you mentioned, like your feelings about Doom. There are lots of people who feel that way about Fallout 3. Bethesda games on PlayStation had historically been bad. Like I never realized the outcry that there was about Bethesda being bought by Microsoft. Because I was like, you guys are mad about the company being purchased that literally gave you the worst version of the game. Like they would show up on Xbox, but then on PlayStation they would have like game-stopping bugs that would like eat your game saves, lock you out from completing the campaign. Like literally, like the even console paradigm now of doing multiple game saves really kind of erupted out of that Bethesda games going to PlayStation era. Like I have that as a paradigm where now typically once I get a certain distance into a game, I always have 2 game saves. So if one's corrupted or if I get locked out of the campaign on one because of some like event trigger bug, I have another one that I can go back to hopefully avoid whatever happened in the other one. So I never really understood it. If they're bringing these remasters and re-putting them on PlayStation and hopefully solving those problems, I think it's good for people who want to get back to them. So I mean, like I said, I bought the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion remaster, and Elder Scrolls 4 and Oblivion was one that I skipped. So, you know, I think people are looking forward to them. I recently picked up like New Vegas. I recently, you know, played a little bit of Fallout 4. So I think it's good. I mean, I think it's fine. You know, how they're going about doing it, I don't like. A lot of times, like with the Last of Us and the Last of Us 2 remaster, those were brought forward into new foundational technology, right, oriented around what they had just rolled TLU 2 out on. So when TLU 1 was remastered, right, it was updated to run on the TLU 2 engine. And so that I see potential for, right? Because I'm like, okay, well now you have that content there and you can platform off of that to do other things, right? Maybe whatever you're doing, dorking around with factions or whatever, right? You've taken a legacy title and brought it forward into the new generation of engine, and that allows you to spawn additional projects based on that. These are using like UE5 as kind of like a wrapper around the old source code. So, and they're doing the same thing with Halo Campaign Evolved. And that approach has had performance problems when it initially launches. The Elder Scrolls, Oblivion had performance problems with frame pacing and stutter. So I don't have as high hopes for that. That's not really bringing the old title forward into a new technology. That's kind of like putting a wrapper or a band-aid on it. So I don't know where else it goes from there. Those are that makes those to me like single point releases that don't really have any like longevity associated with them to platform the franchise and go right other places from there. So we'll see how it turns out. I'm sure it will have customers and I'm sure people will enjoy it. I mean, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion one charted on the NPD charts when it came out. I think it's still one of the top selling games of 2025 on the US NPD charts. So, I mean, it's commercially viable. People are looking forward to it. It's got a market for it. Makes sense to me. And makes sense that they're doing something to capitalize off the Fallout television series.
I was going to sit there and say that. I was just going to sit there and say that because I mean, from the trailer, they're going into New Vegas. At least what I'm getting from the trailer in that. So, I mean, it's great to was a commercial or whatever. Hey, you know what? You like the TV show, maybe you'll enjoy the game. David, let me ask you, what do you think Fallout 3 Remaster? Have you played any of them?
Wait. They're remastering the wrong one then.
So you want New Vegas?
Well, I mean, if they're going to tie it into the show's second season or whatever, it would have made more sense to release New Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I'm super excited. Fallout 3 is my favorite in the series. So if it comes, I'm buying it, no matter what way to do it.
I'll give my piece. David, go ahead.
No, you're right. Yeah, I understand why they do them. I think we've discussed that one to the ends of Earth and back. In terms of Fallout, I've never played a Fallout game. I've as everyone knows, I suck at first person games, especially ones that have got shooter elements to it. The last prop shooter game I played was Medal of Honor on PS2. So that's an old game. I mean, it's Fallout 3, one of the best ones in the series. So it makes sense. Bring it modern audience, all the rest of it. They'll just, ching the cash register and off they go. I still think New Vegas, and I agree with Retro, New Vegas probably would have been more sensible if they wanted to tie it into the TV show, but trying to time that stuff is difficult. It's starting to happen with TV shows now, the same as what happens with games. They'll go out, they'll shoot it, they'll work on it, they'll give us a window of when they think it'll come out, and then they'll fiddle around with that until they get it sorted out, because it's all predominantly on streaming now, so they're trying to, slot it in and all the rest of it. But I suppose the thing that I'm curious is, do they keep it and just give it the bump upgrade, or are they going to completely remake the game and start fiddling with all the things that made it the legendary thing that it is, that series is? If they start fiddling around with them too much, there's a chance that they'll strip all the soul out of it. So hopefully they don't go and do too many crazy things to it, but you never know what's going to happen when they do these remakes.
Okay.
They have to keep some of the glitches in it, man, because some of the glitches actually made the game. I mean, like when you got hammered by a giant and he just sent you into outer space. Stuff like that was hilarious. Okay, yeah, you had to start the encounter again. But it was hilarious just seeing your knight or your thief or assassin or whatever just getting skyrocketed up into the air. And also getting to see all of Oblivion, all of the area and stuff was kind of cool. But there's even little things like the way the paintbrushes work. So if you drop a paintbrush, you can actually jump on its detection box, and you can actually form like stairs or steps to anywhere you want on the map. So you can literally go over the actual, the way the main area is like this walled off kind of city. You can actually get it so that you can climb over the wall and stuff like that. It's just crazy little silly glitches like that. They need to keep them kind of things in, because it is what makes it, and it's all based on, because they use the same engine, you get a lot of crossover with like the Oblivion glitches as well and stuff like that. It wasn't the giants, it was the mutants. It was the mutants in the Fallout game that would send you skyward instead of the giants. I'm crossing the two, I think so anyway, from what I remember. But yeah, man, I'm excited for it, I won't lie.
See, I'm gonna say this. Like I said, I played about 3 hours of Fallout 3. I got bored of it. But hearing what you guys have to sit there and say about it, and then also people on Twitter and that kind of thing, that's basically the only time I ever listened to Twitter. People giving their reviews or whatever. If they do a remaster, I'll definitely go out and buy this. I have to try and play this. Now, people, well, why don't you go and play it on Game Pass? I'm sorry to say, I don't have an Xbox no more. It's just the way it is.
But see, the funny thing is, right?
Rid of it.
With the wife, she watched me play Oblivion on the PS3 and thought it was the most boring thing ever. She has been addicted to the remaster. She's tried platinum in it. Now, of course, bit of Bethesda jank is still there. One of the mission starters will not come out of a loop that he's in. So it's blocked the progress from the platinum. What is it? Is it the Thief's Guild has glitched out on her? So basically, she can't complete the quest that she needs to. So she's gonna have to start again, unfortunately, to get to that quest, because it's the last thing that's blocking her, I think, from the platinum.
Maybe that's what my wife got stuck on. I forget what. I mean, I'm not going to ask her right now because.
It's possible because there is a lot of those types of bugs and stuff in the Fallout and Oblivion games.
Yeah, she got stuck on something and she's like, "Forget it. I'm not doing anything right now." It's like
I would say it's probably similar in Starfield. I haven't played Starfield, so I don't know. I'm kind of waiting on the PlayStation release on it, to be honest. For no other reason than I would prefer to play it on the platform I prefer. That is it. No other reason. And yeah, I'm waiting for it, but I would say that they have similar sort of glitches going on. I mean, it's the same engine basically, isn't it?
I don't have no preferred platform. I only have one platform, so I'm forced to play there. So.
Well, I mean, you did have the option at one point. You made the choice to
yeah. Yeah. But
I mean, if I really wanted to, I could play it on my son's Series S. My oldest son took the Series X with him when he moved out, so I could if I wanted to. But I would like to play it on my PlayStation and get the trophies and stuff.
I could actually do that because my son still has the Series S upstairs, and I can bring it downstairs here and put my count in.
I mean, I could do it with xCloud as well. I mean, I'd done it for Forza. What is it? Forza 5 originally. I played that through xCloud. So I could, but I'd prefer to get the native version on my console. That's it.
May I say, Doom, the reason I took my background down is because I've often thought about getting that Secret Labs chair, but I always walk back from it because I fear the Batman signal would be too subdued and you wouldn't be able to see it. So I took my background down because.
Oh no!
Oh,
it's supposed to be yellow. It's supposed to be yellow.
Yo, that's my.
Because I've got the Flash one.
I love the Flash. I'm a huge Flash fan. If you looking, where the hell is it? If you look back there, wherever.
Which Flash?
Yo, you can tell.
Which Flash are you a fan of?
Good with it for a weather person, right over there. I got all these McFarlane
nice.
figures, the Flash figures, Godspeed,
nice.
West.
So
go ahead, Logic.
So the question Retro is asking, let's just pump the brakes. I hope you aren't going where I think you're going. Wally West is not the Flash. There's only one Flash, and that is Barry Allen.
Right.
Like this whole generation of comic book characters. Because I had to, when the series was on, I had to remind myself, oh, great Scott, like, Wally West has been the Flash since Crisis on Infinite Earths, and for a lot of people, like when Barry Allen came back, a lot of younger people who were reading comics books were like, who is this guy?
Right.
And I'm like, so for a lot of them, Wally West is the Flash, but that's wrong. I just want to tell all you youngsters out there, that's wrong. There's one Flash, there's Barry Allen. Like if you don't recognize that, then read your history. But yes, and David, I also agree with you. My problem with that Secret Labs chair is I wish they would have made, even if they would have done like the yellow circle with the black symbol inside of it, I would have liked that pop a little more. Like I really don't, like, it's a good looking chair, and I'm complimenting you on it because now that I have actually seen one like live, I'm like, oh, okay, that actually does look good. But I've never understood the whole design choice to go with like the subdued, like black on dark gray.
The Secret
My
Lab.
point wasn't Wally West or Kid Flash. It was Jay Garrick.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Okay.
that was the other figure I was looking at getting because he still had the McFarlane did the one where he had the tin hat with the bolts coming out. And I was like, oh,
Yes.
It was $12.
But my Flash for my generation is definitely Barry Allen. It is. That's who Flash was. You know. But yeah, I just wanted to see if anyone picked up on Jay Garrick or not, man, because it's a very old callback, that one. Like
It is.
Logic
That
was
is.
getting into it. I was about to say his name, but I was like, let Logic say what it is. He might actually mention it, and then you jumped in right there.
I'm all,
yeah,
I'm
he
all
is
for
right.
Jigger.
For the modern era, it's been mostly Wally West. It really has, yeah.
Well, that's
but
why they included him into the show, because just like you were sitting there saying, Logic, not everybody, too many young people, like you sat there and said, it was all about Wally West. So they just figured, hey, we'll throw him in there to see if we get maybe even better ratings and that kind of thing.
They never realized that he's the replacement. Right? He's not the Flash. But I'm all about Jay Garrick. In fact, I felt that was the best part of the show, was them having Jay Garrick in there and casting him as that dude from the old Flash series from the 90s. That was such a superb move, man. Unbelievable.
My dad brought me in. He's like, watch this TV show. Look at this. It's Flash. I'm like, wait a minute, Flash from the comic book?
Like,
yeah.
it kind of is a shame that they didn't carry on with that whole, because a lot of even some of the side shows that came off because of the Flash and the Arrow were really quite good, and they kind of, I thought they did the comics justice, man. I genuinely did feel like they really understood the characters.
Legends of Tomorrow was good.
I
really enjoyed a lot of the seasons on that. And then they started they got Batgirl in.
Well, I feel bad for the Batwoman one, right? Because that was actually a really good, like, that storyline itself was going to be so good. And yeah, the old Batman, the dude actually that used to voice in the comics ended up being in it as Batman, as an older Batman and stuff. It was brilliant.
Yeah, the guy.
But for some reason, that's him. Yeah,
I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but yeah,
I can't remember his name either. Oh shit.
Yeah, Legends of Tomorrow. What's that?
Conroy, wasn't it?
Yes, Kevin Conroy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, for a couple seasons, Legends of Tomorrow was actually the best show of the Berlantiverse shows.
Yeah.
See, I
agree with that.
I loved Flash.
Even the crossovers, man. They made the crossovers like a proper event, man. It was so good.
See, I got real heavy into Arrow because of the whole thing with Deathstroke coming on and with that character, and the guy who played Deathstroke was in the TV show Spartacus on Starz. And I thought he played a very good Deathstroke in that. So but does anybody
Is it Kiwi?
Yes. Is it Manu?
Yeah,
the amount of Australian and New Zealand actors in all those shows is phenomenal.
Well,
Manu Bennett.
Manu Bennett, that's who it is. Yes, and the gentleman who took over.
Is that the dude? Sorry, don't mean to.
No. Go ahead, Retro, because I'm trying to think of the character.
Is he the dude that's in the John Cena Peacemaker show, playing Rick Flag's dad?
Oh,
is it him?
No. But they kind of somewhat look similar. That's
not me being racist, is it? That wasn't me being racist. That was just they look the same to me. Maybe I need to relook.
Yo, he got Frank.
Just to make that clear, just to make that clear.
Oh, that's right. And Frank Grillo, surprisingly enough, I don't know this guy's background well enough. So Frank Grillo is also who is the Marvel character? Not Tombstone.
You're Crossbones.
Yes, Crossbones. So, and he's actually one of the big creative minds in the MCU. Like, you watch the MCU credits, and Frank Grillo's name scrolls by as part of the creative staff. like near Kevin Feige's like all the time, and I'm like, what is this? What? It's so yeah, it's really impressive. All the things he's doing. He plays this really super minor role in the MCU. And so you would just be surprised. But yeah, I frequently see his name coming up in comic book properties. So I apologize, David. We went off on a comic book tangent there. But I'm currently trying to rewatch the Arrowverse and watch all 8 seasons of Arrow for like the 59th time because I never stick with it. But
look, it's
sorry, did you say his name was Frank Grillo?
Yeah, so
that's the actor. The actor I'm thinking of is Frank Grillo.
Yeah, Doomsayer said the person you were talking about from Peacemaker is Frank Grillo.
Oh, right, okay, sorry.
That's all good. That's all good. I thought Arrow was a pretty good starting point. We started watching it just after it started airing, and then they fleshed out the other ones. The only downside I had with Arrow was they were picking up on some of the headline villains, and they developed some really good stories for some of the, say, second tier villains, and they could have done a little bit more with them, but it was just nice to see Firefly, Calendar Man, and those guys actually get a chance at it. And then, I was just saying, like, the amount of Australian and New Zealand actors and actresses that they had fleshed out through that whole Arrowverse. At times I was like, did they shoot that thing down here or something like that? But it was really, really well done.
Well, David, I want to sit there and say I just totally lost. But the original actor that played Spartacus, he passed away. I think it was of bone marrow cancer or something like that. But the gentleman that they got in to play Spartacus to take over for him, he's the same guy who's doing the voice of Wolverine in the Wolverine game. And he was also...
Oh, that's that guy. I thought I recognized him,
he was
but I was
in one of the Flash episodes. He might have been Mirror Man or something, but I gotta look it up real quick. But yeah, Logic, you would recognize him. You guys, all three of you guys, you watched Flash and you watched Arrow. He was a villain in both of those series. This is going to bug the shit out of me. Both those names are killing me, man.
What, the villain or the actor?
What's that?
Villain or the actor?
The actor.
Liam McIntyre is the actor.
Yes. He was... Oh, gee. I can't remember what... Wait a minute. I'm going to bring him up. Here it is. All right, so... Oh, he was Mark Mardu? Wait a minute. I'm looking him up real quick, so people just be patient.
Mark Mardu?
Wait a minute. Oh, my God.
In which one? For the Flash?
In the Flash. Mark... It just says Mardu? I'm not too sure what... Here, I'll look him up on that. But let me throw this out there. Now we're getting off a topic.
Are you talking about the Wolverine voice actor?
Yes.
That's Liam McIntyre.
Liam McIntyre. Okay.
And he was the headliner in Spartacus.
Yes. And then he was also the character that he was in on Flash. He was a bad guy.
Mark Martin.
Yes.
Weather Wizard.
Yes. Damn it, you guys are a lot quicker than I am. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was Marduk, and I'm like, that's not in the Flash, mate. He was a different one.
He was Weather Wizard in the Flash.
Yes.
That's okay. See, you guys are better because my brain's like going all over the place and everything. So
I think it was a season 1 villain because he's another guy who got powers from the
explosion and everything with
the particle accelerator. Yeah.
See, I'm glad I got you guys here because half the time my brain's just so cluttered.
In Gears 5 as well.
you don't just read one, like, it's not just one storyline or one history. There's multiple histories and multiple offshoots and different events and Elseworlds and all sorts, man.
Yeah.
So we get confused too, because some of the times they do meld in together, man. Do you know what I mean? They just do.
If we want to talk
you should
about
never
this
be
sort of
ashamed of
stuff,
not knowing something, because there's so much of it.
you want to talk about the ridiculousness of crossing over timelines and all the rest of that. Since the last time we spoke, I finished playing Spider-Man, and I hate the ending of Spider-Man 2018. I hate it. It is not in line with what should be done.
Explain.
I'll be honest, I don't even remember it,
I know
man.
we're getting off track here, but I got to hear this. Explain.
In what universes Aunt May deserve that kind of ending?
Yo, that broke my heart. That's right. That broke my fucking heart, man. I wasn't ready for that.
Furious. I was furious at that. One, it happens in that storyline happens in an offshoot of a timeline in a comic from the I think it's the early 2000s or late 90s. It might have been. But it's once of all the different ways that this thing plays out. It happens once, and they went with that, and they gave it no grandeur or anything. Pissed off, man. Anyway,
see,
I digress.
Here's the thing. You sitting there saying that, and then I hear Wooly say that part 2, he did not like part 2 because the writing and everything wasn't there and that. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I actually enjoyed 2 better than I did 1. Just because of the little shots they threw in there with different, other characters and all that. And I'm like, yeah.
I mean, it is a love letter to the comics, especially like even down to Miles getting his own Venom suits and stuff and his own symbiote suits. Like that is a proper to all the fans. You know what I mean? Like you can say you preferred the story either or, but some of the excuses I've seen didn't really gel with what I played. Some of the stuff I've seen people their opinions and stuff didn't really gel. I didn't think the story was bad or anything. I think if anything, they tried to put too much into it. Because you had Craven.
Right.
You had Craven, but you also had the symbiote story kicking off, and they introduced Carnage almost straight away. I know it was only a hint of it, but Cletus Cassidy's there and stuff already.
See,
and realistically, Spidey and Venom haven't had enough time to that's a whole storyline they could be doing, and it just feels like they rushed it a little bit. So I do get some of the disappointment, but it wasn't a bad story. It wasn't terribly done. And I think the improvements to the gameplay and everything just elevated it for me.
I like the whole thing with the side missions and everything for you sitting and setting up Cletus Cassidy as that cult leader and all that. And sorry if I'm spoiling anything for anybody, but when I first played the game, I didn't do side missions. I went back recently within the last 6 months. I played the game, did all the side missions, did everything to platinum the game, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a little bit better. LogiQ,
I mean, that one side mission kind of leading into the Spider-Verse had me excited.
Yeah.
And then we got the leak that they'd cancelled the one service game that I was likely to buy from them. Because what they had planned sounded awesome. You had customizable spider suits, customizable backstories, customizable... what else was there? It was like you could customize it right down to your spider symbol, man. Your backstory, all of that. And then you went out as a group of spider people to take on, the villain of the week. You know what I mean? So the community events were going to be based around the main villains of the games or the comics. And you would literally have different events every week and different villains coming in and out, man. And it sounded so good, and they cancelled it.
How do you know that maybe they wouldn't do something like that for the third one? Because let me ask you, gentlemen, here, I mean, you've had all but one of the Sinister Six. Am I wrong on that for the first 2?
No, the Sinister Six were basically in the last one, were they not? In the first one.
But Green Goblin is not a part of the Sinister. Wait a minute. Yeah, Green Goblin's not a part of the Sinister Six. Am I correct?
There's various versions of the Sinister Six.
Okay.
I'd say the lineup I think most people think of is Doc Ock,
Right.
Vulture, Electro, Mysterio, Sandman, and Kraven.
Yep.
So we've got Doc Ock.
Right.
We in the game, and as I'm trying to go through this, I'm getting confused because they said the same thing was going to happen in the movies, right? Because after whatever, what was the last one?
That was the one.
Oh yes, with the guest appearances.
Yes, that one had that one was starting to build towards a Sinister Six, and they were saying we're going to do a Sinister Six. They were saying Sony was going to do a Sinister Six movie. So I'm going to try and go through this, and I'll probably get confused. So Doc Ock is in the game,
right?
Mysterio's in the game. Sandman's in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Kraven is in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Are Vulture and Electro in the game?
Yes, but they're in the first one. Mysterio and Kraven are in the second one. Doc Ock is the first one.
Shocker and Rhino, who could be other substitutes, they are both already taken out in the story. You know what I mean? They've already been taken out.
Because the one the one thing that
I suppose you could say that they haven't come through as a group, but the closest we got when Peter was getting his ass beat on the roof.
See,
you remember when they're all piling on him and he's pretty much fucked up?
Yeah.
It was basically the Sinister Six.
Yeah.
I know there wasn't six of them, but...
See, the one thing that I'm getting to, and I guess I'm kind of like getting impatient is, and I really want to find out, in the third game and in the movie, or the upcoming movie, is Green Goblin going to be in this? Or is it, maybe they don't go Green Goblin, maybe they go Hobgoblin?
Well, I mean, Hobgoblin was in the movies, the Tobey Maguire stuff, and the rumor is that Tobey Maguire's in this next Avengers, along with Doomsday and all of that. So, well, have you not seen these rumors, bro?
No, I haven't seen anything. It's just like, weren't there leaks of pictures of Doomsday, the Doomsday movie? There were like pictures in that. I sat there and said, I don't want to have no part of it. I want to be so like, oh my God, you got that? He's in there. This guy's going on. I just want to be shocked when I see this. I don't want to know anything about it. But the game, tell me about the game. Are you putting in Hobgoblin or Green Goblin? You know, what is... I know they're probably...
Well, I mean, technically, we don't even know that they're working on a Spider-Man 3.
They have to.
We don't actually...
It'll be for the PS6.
Well, I mean...
I thought we got word they were working on the sequel.
Did we? Maybe I missed it then? I've been known to be wrong. So, yeah, if I've missed it, sorry. Don't mean to misinform anyone, you know?
David, you did beat 2, correct?
No.
Oh, shit. We just fucking ruined that for David.
No, I'll give you a peek behind the curtain. I'll give you a peek behind the curtain. When you guys start talking about games I haven't played yet, I just pick up my phone and tune out so I don't listen to any of it. So I don't know half of what you just were talking about.
Good. Because I was sitting here, I'm like, shit, man, we screwed that up. Oh, man, we screwed that up. But that's the risk. That's the risk that I take in not playing games day one.
Hey. Wait for them to be nice and cheap, and then you get a laugh out of this. I did 4 years between when The Last of Us 2 came out. 4 years or 5 years? I don't even 5 years. When The Last of Us 2 came out, and then me playing it, and I managed to avoid all spoilers. I did not like the story leak and all the rest. Knew nothing of it. The week before I started playing it in the group chat, someone spoiled the ending for me the week I started playing it. Like, oh, you motherfuckers.
Listen,
And then lo and behold, what they spoiled wasn't at the ending, it was right at the beginning, so...
when I go and go to hang out with a buddy of mine, we'll be sitting there, we'll be talking about movies or games or anything like that, and he'll sit there and say, yo, do you want me to tell you about this? Because it's going to spoil it. And I just sit there and go, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me. You can spoil whatever you... That's not going to stop me from either watching or playing or reading it or whatever it is, because it just gears me up even more to go and do that. But there are some things, it's like, man, I don't want to know nothing about that. I just want to be so surprised in everything. It's just like, did anybody see 28 Years Later?
28 years later? Not yet, no.
Okay, is anybody...
That's the newest one, isn't it?
Yes, that is the newest
one.
Yeah. I just... Retro, this ain't going to ruin anything to you because you're not even going to understand.
Mate, it's okay. By the time I actually get round to watching it, I'll have forgot this conversation even happened. It's cool.
I'll have forgotten this conversation by lunchtime.
You ain't wrong.
I watched the movie because it popped onto Netflix, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, no shit. Really? And I go and I text him, and I'm like, iodine. Or no, yeah, iodine. Really? And then I go, he never answered. This was like almost 2 months ago. I go up there last Saturday, and he's like, yo, he says, yeah, I heard of the band Iodine. And I'm like, no, that's not a band. That's Iodine's in the 28 Years Later, or 28 Years Later movie. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, you watched it. How do you not remember? He's like, oh, wait a minute. Now I remember what it is. But that's as far as I'm going to go. But yeah, anyway. All right, let's get back to this again. So,
just before we move on,
yes.
have you watched Peacemaker? Have you been watching? Have any of you watched Peacemaker?
I have not watched season 2 yet.
It is great. I had so many reservations about it just for the fact that John Cena is a wrestler. I couldn't have been more wrong about that dude. That dude can act. He plays the part well, and it's an entertaining show. You've got 2 awesome seasons with loads of little nods and, things like that lead into the bigger kind of universe. And I know that it's going to lead into some of the newer movies.
Yeah, Frank Grillo's supposed to be in.
Give it a watch, lads. I honestly, I would really like to hear what you actually think. If any of you are DC fans, but
Oh, I love DC. I'm more of a DC fan than.
Yeah, DC's more my thing than.
Well, see, I know when we talked before, I know, David is Logic. Are you more of a DC fan than a Marvel fan? Because when you're on Brap, I hear you talk a lot about Marvel and that, but you're more of a DC fan than Marvel, right?
Yeah, probably. I mean, the sad thing is like there's unfortunately more Marvel conversation just out in the ether than there's DC. Like people just don't know DC. Like that whole spiel that I just rattled off about the fact that the reason people think about Flash as the Wally West because they haven't seen Barry Allen. Barry Allen walks off the stage in Crisis of Infinite Earths, which most modern like comic book fans like. When I mention that, what are you talking about?
He ends up trapped. Is it trapped in the Speed Force or something? He ends up for years. Is that?
I don't remember exactly how he goes out, but he's the one who saves everyone. It's his sacrifice that saves everyone from Crisis on Infinite Earths. And then I start talking about, well, what is Crisis on Infinite Earths? Well, the Crisis on Infinite Earths was because after decades of DC Comics, after 75 years or whatever, DC Comics had spawned all these multiple Earths. Because now, of course, fans think that the multiverse is a Marvel thing, and I know it actually started in the DC universe. Marvel copied it, right? So after years of spawning all these multiple Earths, DC had a real problem with continuity because you had all these different instances of Batman and all these things. So they were like, let's solve it. And their solution to solving it was with Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so their objective was to collapse all these Earths, get rid of all the extras. That's how you wind up with the JSA in the same continuity and reality as the Justice League. and the way that they got to that was the Flash sacrificed himself. I also think there's like an ancillary sacrifice, like Supergirl, I think, also sacrificed herself. But this is how you get to Wally West. Yeah, Wally West being like for like 20 years or something like that or longer, being the Flash, and people just not even being aware that Barry Allen was the Flash. And then of course Barry Allen comes back kind of in the modern era. I want to say like post Black Knight Returns, right? So Frank Miller in the 90s, I think it was, did Dark Knight Returns. So yeah, like people don't know this stuff, and they don't know the history, and they don't know the continuity, and like they don't know that the Martian Manhunter is John Jones, and you know, they don't know that Martian Manhunter is almost as powerful as Superman. You know, you say first,
one of the few that can go toe to toe with him, man.
Yeah, they say you know, you say something like first son of, you know, last son of Krypton, first son of Mars. People don't know what you're talking about, you know. So like, yes, I am a huge DC Comics fan. It's just that there's not a lot of other people to grok with on that topic.
The first time I ever read a Martian Manhunter comic, my wife got me the graphic novel, and I'm sitting there and I'm reading it, and I'm like, what is this? This is some of the most trippy shit going. It was like so psychedelic and everything, and I'm like, is this seriously like the comic book? And then you keep on reading it. It's like it just kept on getting better and better and better. And yeah, if nobody understands or knows, Superman is powerful, but there are dudes in the DC universe that can go toe to toe with him and even whoop his ass. So let's not.
I guarantee they don't know about. I guarantee they don't know about the blue-powered Superman or the white-powered Superman or the Superman that spends is it a couple of hundred years or something in the center of the sun? Like there's some crazy times where Superman gets a power up or an upgrade or
retro.
It's crazy, man.
Excuse me, retro. I'll bet you people don't even know that Supergirl is actually more powerful than Superman.
Yeah,
they don't know. Yeah. I mean, there's just tons of stuff they don't know.
That's before you even get to all the different animated series and all the rest of it that they've spawned bits and pieces off.
Well, that's the main thing. What I was going to say is a big part of the problem is we just really haven't had as much like television shows and stuff that I've gotten. And like, there's been so many DC stories that are like, this is the only superhero in the world, you know, and they don't. I mean, that's one of the things we give the Berlantiverse credit for, even though the Berlantiverse does a lot of ignoring Batman, right? Because of course, the construct of Arrow is he's built out like Batman, like he's the replacement for Batman because they couldn't use Batman. So yeah, it's a wonderful universe and a wonderful background and a wonderful tapestry. And quite honestly, to me, in my mind, it stacks up like the difference between Star Trek and Star Wars. Like I prefer Star Trek because Star Trek is orderly, it has lore, it has a timeline, it has structured governments that they don't ignore. They don't just skate by, you know, they don't destroy the Death Star and then stand up the New Republic and then walk past the fact that, like, why is the New Republic acting like they're a rebellion now with limited resources, and the Empire, which has supposedly been knocked down and dragged out, suddenly can build something bigger than the Death Star? Like, that makes absolutely no geopolitical sense, right? In the sense of the universe. Fine, I'm a nerd, I'm a geek, I'm OCD, I get it, but I like fiction that, like, maintains some type of continuity. So, to me, DC Universe does, I won't say a better job than that of Marvel, but it does a job. It has like some orderly, logical structure to it.
Just to end on this note, I've always enjoyed DC a little bit better, just because even their like soft characters, like a Superman, that there's some brutal shit going on. When I started reading Flash Rebirth, I mean, the first page, you see Reverse Flash ripping some dude's heart out, and it's like, yeah, this is the Flash. This is, you know, like, oh, okay, not super violent, not, you know, that. No, there's, you know, Reverse Flash, And then my favorite character is Godspeed because he's that anti-hero and he can go one way or the other. He's brutal as shit too because that first graphic novel, I think the first 4 issues, it's all about Godspeed, and I just love. I have all kind of Funko stuff and McFarlane and whatever, but yeah, I
would say DC's Achilles heel is they also do a lot of stupid stuff. Like I don't want to give them full credit. Like like how there are so many characters that are like it's the superhero's name and they precede it with black. Like Black Lightning. Does he really need to be called Black Lightning for us to know that he's a black dude? Like I don't think. I think
it's fucked up. That is fucked up.
Like I'm like, what are we doing? So and how everybody is blah 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 man and blah 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 woman. That kind of gets old. And so there's some antiquated structures there. And then they do crazy stuff like they have a problem with doing certain things like on the current Flash run. It's like everybody who's ever had the Speed Force, and it's just so ridiculous to the point where it's stupid. It's like there's so many speedsters running around, and I'm like, what? Why are we? What are we doing? Why are we bothering with this? Like I don't, So yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, the amount of crisis points that would cause, like if there was that many running around changing shit all the time, like oh my. Have any of yous, while we're on the subject of comics, have any of yous checked out Absolute Batman yet?
No.
Oh yeah.
I read the first few issues. It's a great comic, but I've walked away from it to get back into like the main continuity. But yeah, it is a great. I hear great things about that in Absolute Superman and Absolute Wonder Woman, and are they doing an Absolute Flash too? Yeah.
Flash, yeah. I think that's the next one dropping. Yeah, I have to catch up myself, but I did start off with the Absolute Batman. I like it. But yeah, it's not going to replace the main stuff. But it is. It's a nice fresh take on the character.
I have to check that out. Absolute Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and then they're coming out with a Flash.
Yeah, it starts with Batman. It starts with Absolute Batman, then moves into Superman, then Wonder Woman, and then, like I said, I think Flash is next.
Do you know who?
Not sure. They might have even started the Flash yet. I don't know.
Do you know who's written any of them?
Capullo's doing. I mean, the whole thing about the Absolutes is they're bringing back a lot of the writers that did great runs.
Yeah.
In other comics. So I don't know who's doing the other ones, but I know it's Capullo doing.
Well, wasn't it
doing Absolute Batman?
Josh.
Oh wait, not Capullo. Is it Capullo or is it Snyder? I think it's Snyder actually that's doing Absolute Batman.
Oh.
Let me check.
Well,
I'll check because I can't remember.
Yeah, because Josh Williamson. If I'm right on that, he did the Flash line for a while too. If I got the name right,
Scott Snyder is the one writing it, and it's Nick Dakota. It's him animating it.
Yeah, because Scott Snyder did the Dark Knight's Metal run. If I'm remembering right, he did a bunch of them and maybe the whole thing.
Well, he got his big claim to fame as being one of the big names who kind of rebooted. I think he did New 52 Batman. And maybe he was working on it a little bit before then, but he definitely was the helm during New 52, and so got really became a really big name during then. Lemire is doing Absolute Flash.
Mm-hmm.
So Lemire, who did a big run, I want to say on. So wait, Swamp Thing is Marvel. Who's the DC?
No,
one?
Swamp Thing is DC. Man Thing is Marvel.
Okay. He's famous for doing a big run on the Swamp Thing and kind of revitalizing that character and making them relevant. He was the one who told the story of the whole like Swamp Thing being one of the color spectrum forces of nature or whatever in the universe and being embodied in the Swamp Thing. I want to say Lemire. I think maybe Lemire did a Teen Titans run too, and he made a big deal out of Beast Boy. Like he does a thing where he does really good work on some of these kind of creature oriented characters and stuff. So he's taken over Absolute Flash. And I don't know who's doing Absolute Superman and Absolute Batman or Absolute Wonder Woman.
Will absolutely be someone.
I don't mean to cut everybody off from our comic book run.
Yeah, can you hurry up and get through the intros, mate? What are you doing?
Yo, listen, we don't sit here and do 2.5 hours like there's, that other TV or whatever kind of
Other TV show.
Wise, I love you. But Jesus Christ, man, an hour and a half to 2 hours of intro? Get the hell out of here.
Just to try and wrap this up and land it. So Jason Aaron is doing Absolute Superman. I don't know what other. I think Jason Aaron did a big run on Action Comics, but his big thing was he did the big run on Thor with Esad Ribic, I believe.
Okay.
So he would have been the guy in the seat for the God Butcher arc and maybe some other things.
Ooh. Looks like I'm gonna have to go out and start buying some more comics again. More money. Jesus.
You can hear the pain in his voice, can't you?
Yeah.
What was it? What was the tech talk going to be today?
Steam, the Steam machine, and David, listen. After I finish this one, it's all you because you got the Ubisoft and the PlayStation. And then Logic with the tech. We might not even get to GTA 6, but let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
What are we? How are we doing for timeline? Because I gotta bounce in like 25 minutes.
Go with the tech first.
All right. You know what? We'll skip this. All right. So the tech, Steam machine. So Logic. People are sitting here calling it the next console. Your thoughts on this? What is this thing going to do? Does it compare to a Series X, PlayStation 5, 5 Pro, whatever? Is it going to, or is it in line with a Switch? I mean, in your expertise.
I mean, so I think, and not to, like, but I'm going to pick at some. So, like, I think those comparisons don't make sense, right? And I mean, this is the same thing when like the Steam Deck was coming along and people were trying to compare it to the Switch. Like, I don't think it makes sense because I think it's in its own competitive space. When you talk about the Steam Deck, the Steam machine, I think it's going to hit it like two. So first of all, I think the main market for the Steam machine is just a bunch of niches, and it's going to aggregate into a market. But there's going to be no one singular use case that really defines it, and it's not mass scale and it's not mass market. It's going to appeal to a bunch of little tiny slivers of a demographic that all together are going to make up something. But I think the first two core niches that it's going to appeal to is first and foremost people who already have a pretty vast digital library within Steam. This is going to be a thing for them to extend that experience. And I think it's going to fall in a couple of crevices. For one group, it is going to be people who have a big metal rig, a PC, and may want a thing in their living room, but aren't console players, don't want a console, and they're going to say, hey, this is a thing that I can buy, that I can stick in my living room, and plays all of my Steam games, and plays it in a console type of modality. So I think it will appeal to them. I think there's another maybe smaller use case of people who will put it in their main PC room for a couple of different reasons. One of them are there's just a lot of us who are PC gamers who are getting sick and tired of Windows. And Windows is getting worse. And so any opportunity that there is for us to skate away from Windows, we often look at that. And so I think people will buy this as what I call an alt box, which is that I want to play some games, but I want to do it in a slightly more relaxed way. I still want to have it like in my main computer room, but I would just like to come in and play my Steam games and not have to light off what I call a Beast of 12 fans. Right? Particularly if I want to play an indie game, or Beast of 12 fans is my term that I've used for decades to refer to my PCs, which have, 3 fans on a 360 millimeter AIO, plus, 3 fans on the side, 3 fans on the bottom, 3 fans on the top, and then an exhaust fan in the back, right? And it's great, like frames, image quality, great. But at the end of the day, it's this nuclear level energy suck, right, that you're lighting off. And often I'm not playing games that require that, right? I'm going to play The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, sure, right? ultra wide screen, 3440 by 1440p resolution, blah 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 blah. But like that's not my power use case scenario all the time. And so a thing like a Steam machine as a mate box, as an alt box, right, for that kind of makes sense. You have a lot of people who, like the workstation I'm at now is I have a Mac. And so yeah, I can see a lot of people, doing this where, I've got a 34-inch, ultra wide screen here. I've got the Mac Mini M4 on one side. I can see a lot of people buying a Steam machine to put as a little gaming box right on the other side. So you have like little niches like that. I think the last main one that I think of for PC gamers are, I think in this conversation around Steam Machine, we forget, and no offense to anyone, but I also say this because it's a lot of console gamers having this discussion, so they don't know the PC market, they don't understand what's going on. We're living in an age where a powerful GPU, a mid-grade GPU, right, is $1,000 plus. So you're living in an age now where people who are on the performance side of gaming, right, we're the people who aren't running potatoes, and we're paying $1,000, $1,500, $2,000 for a GPU, maybe high 800s at the low end. And so when you think about that, and you think about, hey, how often do I upgrade? I've normally been Tik Tok. So normally I will build a PC, and then like 2 years later, I'll upgrade the motherboard, CPU, and RAM. And then 2 years later, I'll buy another GPU. And then 2 years after that, I'll upgrade my foundation build. Yeah, those type of people who are on that type of like recapitalization schedule will look at something like a Steam machine and say, hey, maybe I can skip a cycle of upgrading my GPU and just get this. And so people will look at that to use as a way to moderate, their upgrade cycles. You may have people who are on potatoes, so you think about the console space and you think about the people who are still on Xbox Ones and PS4s. This might be the type of thing where if a person went PC and they went high end, but their PC is now a potato, they may say, hey, instead of doing an upgrade right now, and not just paying that money, but like getting a case up on a workbench, right, and going through all the work, right, to wire it up and get new parts and do all the associated research is another big part of it, right? Somebody who built a PC, but again, now their PC is a potato. Before they go to build, they got to figure out where CPU technology is now, where GPU technology is now, what are all the compatibility things that they need to run. And they might just say, hey, rather than doing all that, I'm just going to buy a Steam machine and be done with it. And then I'll see how good the Steam machine does for me, and then I'll worry about like my next upgrade path.
Logic. Wait a minute. Is this Steam machine? So I saw the controller in that. Are you going to be able to hook up like an Xbox or a PlayStation controller? You can do that to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
And
I mean,
no, go ahead.
Yeah, because I mean, so first of all, in most cases, DualSense compatibility on PC is through Steam. There's not a set of robust DualSense compatible drivers on PC. The ones that are there are made by Steam. And so actually, when you go and play a PlayStation game on Steam with your DualSense controller, you actually get more functionality out of it than you do when you play it on a PlayStation game sold in the Epic Store.
Oh, wow.
Because that set of drivers is particular to Steam. They haven't open sourced it, right? So it's available on Steam. There's probably other workarounds you can do, but there's a level of tinkering and figuring that stuff out. And so if you want to go with a trustable resource, you're probably just going to go with the Steam drivers. So yes, you can absolutely hook up a DualSense. You can absolutely hook up an Xbox controller. Those things are easy.
Okay, two other questions for you. The power of this. I mean, is this, and maybe I totally missed it in that because it was something else. Is this in line with a Series X and PlayStation 5? And if it is, in your opinion, price-wise, what do you think this is going to be price-wise for something like this?
Yeah, so how does it compare to consoles? Again, I'm not saying this might be snarky or a smartass. What I will tell you is I don't know, I don't care, and I'm not going to figure it out.
Okay.
And the reason why is this. What Steam does for Steam games on their hardware does not necessarily fall in line with a spec-to-spec comparison. And so when you look at what the Steam Deck does, and you look at the games that play on there, I don't know that it makes sense to make a one-to-one comparison to the Windows handhelds that are available. Because what Steam does is its compatibility program, it often delivers games that punch above their weight, right, in terms of specs. Steam has said that this will run games at 4K 60, which is just a very wide-ranging, kind of hand-wavy type of statement. I don't know exactly what that means. In my own parameters, what I've said is, okay, based on that statement, what I would expect is that any game released in, I would say, early 2025, so the first half of 2025, I would expect to run at 4K 60 on this box. And if it doesn't run at 4K 60, then that's a problem for what Steam has claimed. As you get into games that come out next year, I don't know that they would stick to 4K 60, so that's where I would set my expectation. But again, what I think this box is this box is mostly targeted at being a companion box to somebody who already runs a performant PC. And so I don't think it's going to be wrapped around the axle about image quality and frames in the living room. So as long as it runs, I'll just use another hand wave. You say good quality games in the living room, I think they'll be fine. I don't think this is a game. So when I play games on PC, I run a piece of software called MSI Afterburner, which constantly gives the way I have it set, which constantly gives my GPU temperature, CPU temperature, and frames per second in the upper left-hand corner. So I can always look at it. And when those numbers are coming in less than what I would expect, which for me, depending on the game, will sometimes be north of 90-something frames per second, but will often be 144, 160-something frames. Like when I'm not getting that, that's when I get bothered, right? And that's when I go in and start looking at settings. I don't think, on the Steam Deck, first of all, you don't have MSI Afterburner. There's a Steam utility, the overlay that will give you frames per second. I turn that on, but I don't get wrapped around the axle about it. So I don't think people are buying this box to be wrapped around the axle about performance. I don't think people are buying this box. I see the console comparisons, and people are, PlayStation fans are comparing it to like 4K 120 for Gran Turismo. I don't think that's the type of market this is going for. If you're somebody who's concerned about performance, you don't buy this box. You build a PC or you buy a pre-built. But by the same token, therefore, running those comparisons makes no sense because that's not what that customer is looking for. And then for the last kind of major, like of the two major kind of slices of demographics that I think this thing is targeting, I think it's targeting new entrants, right, coming in to the market who they don't have a pre-existing digital library on either platform. They're totally looking at this as a greenfield, and they're going into it. They're going to go into it because they think that, hey, maybe I'm interested in PC gaming. I'm interested in that being my main, but I know that building a PC gaming box is expensive, so I'm going to buy this less expensive thing for my introductory into PC gaming, and then I'll see how it goes from there. And then after that, I'll build my $1,500 box. Price-wise, what I've said is I think there's going to be one of two things. Either you look at they're going to build this thing out as a family of products. And so the Steam Deck is already an anchor. And so you look at the Steam Deck and you say, what makes sense in proportional pricing to the Steam Deck? The high-end SKU of the Steam Deck is $650. The middle SKU is $550. So where I would expect this thing to be priced is I could see the low-end one, the 512 gigabyte one, which is comparable to the 512 gigabyte Steam Deck, which sells for $550. I could therefore see that one coming in at $650 on the low end. Because the way Valve would look at it is they would look at, you can buy a Steam Deck and the equivalent, right, Steam machine to that Steam Deck is this thing at $100 more. And then the high-end one is $650. I could see that would being priced at $750 or $800. I could see it going up to $800 on the low end because it's a 2 terabyte box versus the 1 terabyte that the high-end Steam Deck is. On the high end, this whole thing about Valve is planning on pricing it at a PC that you could build for those parts. I don't think that they're talking about a full-blown PC. I don't think that they're talking about a micro ATX box that is a regular size PC. I think they're talking about the mini PC market, which is the thing this is comparable to. And so if you were going to go buy a mini PC, if you were going to go buy a bare bones mini PC and stock it with your own RAM and CPU, you would be paying in the $600 to $800 range. Ace Magic builds these things. Minis Forum builds these things. These are things that are less than what I would think of as a performant entry-level gaming PC, which I would put at like $1,500. If you're going to buy a mini PC, then I think you're looking at the $650 to $800 range. And I think that's what they're talking about pricing this thing against, where the entry level may come in a little lower than that. And the 2 terabyte model might come in a little higher than that. So on the low end, I think this thing will be $650 to $800. On the high end, I think it may be $800 to $1,099.
See, I was going to sit there and ask you about, would this be like an entry to say, hey, get this. This is what PC is like. And if you really enjoy it, here you can go and build your own and, do things. Like you sat there and said, an entry level. See, I'm asking these questions because I'm kind of curious to say, maybe this might be something I might wind up looking into. I mean, it just goes right to, your TV and all that. I have a Steam account. I don't have any Steam games, but I mean, I'm seriously thinking about something like this.
And that's what I think. Like, I think there's a plausible consumer market that is like people who are multi-platform gamers. But a lot of the sturm and drang that I see online is positing that will somebody go buy this instead of a thing. Valve is not positioning this for you to go buy it instead of a PlayStation 5 or instead of an Xbox. I think they are positioning it for you to buy either as, if you're going to buy it instead of one of those things, it's because you're interested in going down the path of PC gaming anyway. And so they're not necessarily, they're not stacking themselves up against a console. Because what I will tell you is, again, no offense to anyone, people buy consoles because they don't want to have to tinker. While Valve is
exactly why I buy consoles.
Right.
Here.
And while Valve is consoleifying this thing so you don't ever have to tinker, they're also not necessarily interested in cultivating a base of people who have zero interest in tinkering. And again, I'll say this statement, not as a means to offend anyone. They're also absolutely not interested in cultivating a base of people who don't have the capability to tinker. So with all of these things, with any electronics device, I always say, electronic devices are not, consumer electronic devices are not made for people who don't want to assume whatever level of responsibility goes along with that device, right? Like, you're going to buy a smartphone, there are certain minimum things you need to know. You need to understand when you need to power cycle the phone. Depending on the type of phone you get, you need a certain level of responsibility to understand, hey, this is the type of phone that I need to reboot every 2 weeks, like you used to have to do with Android, right? Like, all of these things carry some minimum level of responsibility. PCs carry with it what I call the self-sysadmin burden. If you're going to buy a Windows PC as a gaming device, like, there are certain things you need to know. And if you're unhappy with it because you choose not to learn those things, quite frankly, that's a you problem, right? The PC market is not molding COTS appliances for you to put in your house and run like a refrigerator. That's not the market. I don't think that's the market for this thing either. And therefore, I don't think this thing needs to come in. Like, again, there's lots of like, oh, this thing's not going to be $400. It's not going to get, well, no shit. Like, it's not the market they're trying to grow. That's not the market they're trying to cultivate. They're not trying to compete against the Switch 2 or the Series S at the low end. They're not trying to compete against the PS5 Pro.
Okay. David or Logic, do either of you guys have anything to say about with the Steam machine and that?
And I mean, Logic literally just spoke right there.
He meant retro. He's busy looking at his phone. Only thing I would seek clarification on one item. The Steam machine. Is it a locked box or is it? Can you change the parts out of it? Because that's the piece that I'm a bit unsure about.
CPU, CPU is fixed. Yeah. RAM, I believe, and memory you can change.
And I'm not entirely certain about RAM, but storage I would think you will absolutely be able to change out the module because you can change it out on the Steam Deck now. It's not easy. Again, it is not laptop easy. Laptop is easy to change. Like there's a whole paradigm around being able to change out laptops. But laptops have gotten worse since everybody's gone down the path of unitary construction. But
so hopeless.
There's long been a paradigm in the gaming laptop space for there to be an ability for you to get in and upgrade the RAM and upgrade the memory, upgrade the storage. The Steam Deck has stuck with an ability to upgrade the storage that I say again is not as easy as it has been on a laptop in the past. I would think they would continue that. So great if you could upgrade the memory. I just haven't seen that myself.
It says that you are going to be able to upgrade it because it's using DDR5 SODIMM memory. It's technically user replaceable. However, accessing the RAM modules is more involved as it requires moving internal components like the heatsink and may be less straightforward than the SSD upgrade.
And that's kind of the same way it is with the SSD, right? Like in a laptop, typically there's just a panel that you screw off, and then you can access the SODIMM and the NVMe. You can pull the NVMe out of its slot, right, without disassembling the whole chassis and put a new NVMe in. It's more involved than that on a Steam Deck. And so, yeah, it sounds like the RAM is the same thing. I'm sorry, David, go ahead.
Oh, you're right, because I was going to say, if it's a locked box and you can't change GPU, CPU, or anything like that, and you all you can do is modify the RAM, and it's 4K 60 at the top end, I'll just seek that clarification, because the comment I was going to make was, you look at the top games that are played on Steam, Counter-Strike 2, Dota 2, Arc Raiders, Battlefield 6, Where Winds Meet, Pub, Rust, Marvel Rivals, Banana, Call of Duty, Path of Exile, Apex Legends, Repo, War Thunder, Football Manager, FIFA, Team Fortress, Crosshairs, Grand Theft Auto 5, Stardew Valley, Warframe, DayZ, Rainbow Six Siege, Delta Fight. See a pattern? Right, you get to see what the most common things played are. And then after that, it's just a crap load of simulator games. Farming Simulator, Euro Truck Simulator, Civilization 4, The Sims. Like, I'm nearly at the bottom of the top 50, and 40 of them, easy, are either sim games, RTS games, or they're the online ones that I was just talking about before. If the intention is, and I completely agree with Logic, the intention here is it's a gateway product.
Right.
But it's a gateway product into a particular, it seems to be a gateway product into a particular type of game. Because outside of the top 100 selling games on Steam, and you're lucky to sell 100,000 copies of whatever it is you're making. And they've got 15,000 plus 25,000 plus games or something sitting in that library. So you're going to have a hard time, if you're not you're not standing out on Steam page, or you're making a good marketing campaign to get there, you're not going to stand out. The top games are the top games for a reason, because they've got like current player numbers for Counter-Strike 2 is over 1.1 million. Peaked at 1.5 million today. People are set in that. They're not going to change in a hurry to pick up a Steam machine to go and play it on their and put it under their TV and play it there. They've got things set up for how they like to play it. I'm not a big PC gamer, I'll admit to that. But Logic should be able to attest to this. PC gamers are tinkerers. They get a setup that works, and they stick with it until they see a need to change the setup. They're very fussy, is the nice way I can put it, around this getting things to how they want them to be. Console gamers are plug and play, we don't care. And in some aspects we probably should care a bit more, but we don't really care too much, we just want to put it on and play it. I find PC gamers who are really, really tuned into it, they really enjoy that, the nuance of getting it, fine-tuning it, and having it right. The games that are played on Steam, the people who play those have a setup that works for them because they're in there every day, or they're in there every second day, and they enjoy their setup. I agree. I don't think this is for the current people who play a lot on Steam. I think this is for new entrants who want to get into PC gaming. They're just not sure how to do it, or they want to be able to access Steam, play on Steam, because Steam games are cheaper. Steam games can perform better, depending on the game. They've got a massive library of indies and older games that you can get into. It's a gateway to get into that stuff. But if the gateway to get into that stuff, 4K 60 performance, is $800 plus, that's going to be restrictive. It's going to be very difficult to get people to want to jump on that. However, if the competing point there is, or you can get a brand new, get one off the shelf at your local gaming shop, pre-built with the specs on it for $1,800, or $2,000 as a starting point for your tower and your GPU, CPU, and everything else, and it's got the pretty LED rainbow lights and all that sort of stuff in it. Then it becomes a very interesting comparative. It's like, $800 to get into it versus $2,000 to start, and then we're putting parts in it all the time. So that's the comparative. That's why I agree with Logic. It's talking about the different, pronounce it, niche markets, or the niches that go into it. They're very targeted. This thing is not going to be able to compete even at $800, $700. It's not going to be able to compete against the PlayStation consoles, because the target there is, it's basically a PlayStation 5 Slim or a PlayStation 5 baseline. It's not going to belt the pants off that when it's $300 dearer. That's it. Put him in a headlock. Get into him.
You're not supposed to be seeing this. That's David. That's Logic. Oh my god. I apologize to everybody. Nobody was supposed to see that.
Don't pretend. Don't pretend you don't love it. He loves you.
So I think that's my.
Okay.
I think that's my thing. I don't think it's trying to compete with the PlayStation, right? It's being sold. First of all, it's being sold on Steam. So
right.
You can go into a Best Buy and you can go into a GameStop to buy a PlayStation. So it's not targeting the type of customer who's going to walk into a brick and mortar. Right.
And if you want to peak, and it's sitting between the performance of a PS5 Slim and a PS5 Pro. And with the PS, they say, it's going to get in and compete. Put a tweet out about this. Valve doesn't have the capital. They don't have the supply line. They don't have the marketing chain. They don't have anything to be able to compete with Sony on consoles. Microsoft had an open checkbook and got belted on it. Absolutely belted on it. Steam does have something that Microsoft don't, which is a massive library of really good games, but they don't have the supply chain, the logistics, the capital to back it, the ability to get the capital to back it. It would cost them billions of dollars to try and go head-to-head with Sony, and as this to compete in a console space. And they don't have a product that is a premium product to demand that kind of price. And if they tried, the Steam machine itself would be $2,000 just to break even.
Yeah, so that's why I go back to I don't think they're competing, right? And that's why I personally feel like the spec and performance comparisons aren't relevant, because there are some people who are going to look at the Steam machine specs and look at PlayStation specs and decide they're going to go buy a PlayStation. But more people are going to look at the Steam machine specs and compare that to an entry-level PC specs and say, do I go whole hog and buy a $1,500 or $2,000 PC right now when I'm unsure that that's the way I want to go? Or do I buy this entry-level thing at $600, $700, $800, right, and mitigate my risk and decide if this is really the way I want to go? The games that David rattled off, what you should take from that is, those are games that play fine on an 8 gigabyte CPU, right? Those are games that Steam will go in and do something at the software level, and those games will perform fine on CPU. I don't. So yes, there's a part of PC gaming that is about tweaking everything and getting it to be where you want it to be. But there's also a part of PC gaming that then, once you have that set and once you have that figured out, you're fine making tweaks on either side of that. So many PC gamers have more than one gaming PC. They will, the other route that I talked about when I talked about the upgrade path, they will build a PC. Their upgrade path for the next thing is not to upgrade, but to build a second PC. And that other one will be a potato, and the new thing will be their thing. And then they'll just leapfrog, right, each build. And so many times those two PCs are configured right along a similar paradigm, but one is obviously configured to run higher, right? And then they'll play at 3440 by 1440p on an ultra widescreen setup versus, you know, a 27-inch monitor. So I think, again, there's room for, like, you have a big metal rig in your computer room, but then you buy this cube and put it in the living room and you tweak it right to run at different specs and different performance settings. But at the end of the day, like I said, I don't think the price comparisons it's the same thing I say now. A lot of times I see, you know, PlayStation fans in particular talking about, you know, comparing PlayStation to PC or PC gamers, and I'm like, guys, you need to understand, when I go to spec a PC, I'm not looking over my shoulder at the PlayStation 5 Pro. I don't go spec a PC upgrade. And there's this myth, I think, that people go to build PCs and they go, hey, what do I need to make an equivalent to a PlayStation 5 Pro or an Xbox? That's nowhere in the equation. What we do is we look at what is in the PC gaming market and what is in the PC performance profiles, and we pick whether or not we're building a high-end rig, a mid-grade rig, or an entry-level rig. And that's the comparison. There is no console comparison in the mix. And I get that there are platform warriors who go out and like stump for clout, but like the reality of the consumer market is that's not what we don't spend time in console forums checking performance specs. Right. We spend time in PC. That's why the PC forums are separate, right? On Reddit, right, and all these other places, because we're constantly kibitzing and nibbling about what is going on with the RTX versus the Radeon 9070 XT, right? And that's where the performance is really. You know, so people who buy a Steam machine, I don't think are going to be wrapped around the axle about how the Steam machine compares to the PS5 or PS5 Pro or Xbox. They're going to be wrapped around the axle about how does this compare to an entry-level PC? How does this compare to a mini PC? What would have happened if I would have taken my money and pointed it at an Ace Magic or a Minis form or a Zotac, right, ultra small form factor box? You know, does this thing stack up to an RTX 4060 or 3060 or 3080 Ti or what? Where am I, right, in the performance band? Of similar spec PCs.
See, Logic, when you sat there and you said about, and let me ask you this real quick: are you okay on time? Do you have like a couple more minutes?
Yeah, I've got like a couple. Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just make this real quick because I got to ask you a question. But when a buddy of mine, he sat there, I told him about building a PC, and he's like, "Here," he says, "Do this. These are some of the stuff. This is the stuff that you would need to get and everything." And I'm like, well, I don't know how to build a PC. So, and I know everybody's against Alienware and that, but this is 5 years ago. I had them build me a PC, just not only for gaming, it was for the stuff that we're doing here. So, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. I didn't give two shits what the hell was going on with a PlayStation or whatever. I wanted to make sure that PC could do the stuff that I needed to do when it came to streaming and editing and that, but then it can also run the games at least at that time, which I think it was a 2080 Ti or something like that I had, at least at the highest it can go at that point. So, but I know exactly what you're talking about. I got to ask you this before you do go, and I've seen this. It's not necessarily for the Steam machine, but with GTA 6 coming out later this year, if you buy that on your Xbox, can you play that on your ROG Ally X? You can't do that because it's technically that's a console and the handheld's a PC, correct?
Yeah, so there's two different things, and people laugh and joke about, you know, Wooly and Dessinger going at it on Crossfire a few weeks ago. I tried to distill it and try to take it out of them. What their argument was really about. There is a thing on PC. Well, there's a thing across gaming where there's versioning and there is entitlement. And what Xbox is trying to do is they're trying to make you, well, and they're kind of trying to manipulate you. They're trying to manipulate a certain consumer market to not pay attention to the difference between those two things. Mm-hmm. And what they're trying to tell you is that what you buy on Xbox is an entitlement. But what you buy everywhere else is you buy a version. So when I buy a game on Steam, I am buying a license to the Steam version of that game.
Right.
It doesn't give me access to that same game on Epic or on Ubisoft or on my console. I am buying a version of a game, and that's what I'm entitled to is the one version. On Xbox, what they're trying to do is they're trying to say what we're selling you is an entitlement, and you actually don't need to be worried about what version because the entitlement gives you access to versions as long as you're within our ecosystem. And so within an Xbox ecosystem, if it is a Play Anywhere title, which is also a bullshit misnomer, we will entitle you to play the game on both your Xbox console and on PC. Now, where it becomes bullshit is because they say, and you can stream that game via Xbox Cloud Gaming. But the reality is you can't stream that game via Xbox Cloud Gaming unless you also subscribe to Game Pass. So Play Anywhere does not exist unless you A, buy the title and subscribe to Game Pass, or you access the title via Game Pass, in which case you're already paying the subscription and that entitles you to stream it through the cloud. So no, when you buy GTA 6 on a console, even if there's no way in the world it's going to be a Play Anywhere title. But in a world where it eventually became a Play Anywhere title, it would only entitle you to play it on the Windows Store Xbox app version of the game on PC when that version came to PC, because the console version is not compatible with playing on PC.
Okay.
Although you could stream it though, but who's going to want to stream GTA?
Well, you could stream it if you're subscribed to Game Pass, which will give you access to Xbox Cloud Gaming, and that's only if Rockstar agrees that that's a game that can be streamed through Xbox Cloud Gaming, because that licensing is still at the discretion.
Oh shit, that's a good point. Yeah, man, I forgot about that. Fair play, fair play.
All right. Let's get to the business talk. Because I got to ask, Logic, you let me know when you got a jet so I can make sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna drop. Good discussion of comic books, because now I'm gonna go watch Ant-Man and the Wasp with my family because it's MCU Infinity Saga night. So I'll catch you guys later.
Hey, have a good one, Logic.
Sounds good, man.
Hey, mate.
Anybody that needs his info and all? Oh, go ahead, Logic.
No, and I just want to say, so, and David, my difference of opinion was not like staunch disagreement or or console warring stuff. It's just I think there's different schools of thoughts with different edges, right? Where people have different opinions. The last thing I'll wrap up as I go, I just want to kind of emphasize, right? Then when you extrapolate and you think about what the conversation around this thing is going to be, and where I think like the wrong conversation will be, like no one who buys a Steam machine is then going to go onto Twitter to talk about, hey, Steam sold this many units of this game right, on Steam. To compare, like nobody's going to go looking for this, like a game on Steam being ranked on the NPD charts. Nobody's going to talk about, oh, Steam Machine has sold, 15 million units and is selling faster than the Nintendo Switch 2, or if you extrapolated this scale, it would be outselling the PlayStation 5. Like, I don't think that's going to be the conversation about. That hasn't been the conversation with the Steam Deck. So, like I said, I think this is just it's a utility box that's going to bolt on to people's Steam library, and for some new gamers coming into the space, it'll be, an entry ramp way for them to then catapult and go full bore Steam gaming right in their next upgrade cycle.
And I completely agree, and that's why I enjoy the conversations, because none of us are all 360-degree knowledgeable on every aspect of it, and I enjoy chatting about it because I get a different perspective, and you can learn from that. So all good.
That's all it is.
All right, I'll see you guys. Thanks a lot. Great episode. Appreciate talking to you guys.
Appreciate it, Logic. Thank you very much. If anybody needs to find his socials and all that, it is in the description. I finally was able to have YouTube sit there and say, hey, you could put links in your description now. They finally just, because they didn't tell me to take a picture of the back of my license. Completely stupid, but whatever.
Okay, all right, I'll see you guys.
Have a good one, Logic.
Hey, mate.
Everybody's links is in the description, so you can go and find everybody here. David, I know you're starting to crunch on time, so let's get to the business stuff. I wanted to sit there and talk to you. We know the PlayStation stuff, and you've gone through that and everything, but I need to ask you this. what is going on with the whole Ubisoft thing? Because there was, I have an article on the side right over here that was saying that they did not put they held on to their earnings call. They held on to it and everything, didn't disclose really anything until yesterday. And then I start reading a report that Tencent went and put, I think it was like $1.6 billion into Ubisoft to pay some stuff off. And then what is going on with the Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, Splinter Cell, and there was like a couple other franchises.
Yeah.
What exactly is going on with Ubisoft right now?
A bit. They had to put a trading hold on because they breached a debt covenant. Well, they had to sort that out. So, I'm just trying to think because I'm about to launch into about a half hour's talk about some really technical accounting stuff. Long story short, they were supposed to pay some money at a certain point in time, and they're supposed to categorize it in their financials reports as a certain thing. They didn't. There was an issue, and because it's a material impact around earnings ratios and financial ratios, they had to hold trading whilst they sorted out what they were going to do.
Right.
And it looks like they assessed it. Comments I'm seeing reporters breached assessed with early. The breach was assessed based on an early loan repayment using proceeds from the Tencent investment. And you've got to be very specific about things when you've got money coming between different entities and is it an investment or is it a loan or how is it categorized, because it's the manner in which it's occurred will determine what it is, not what you think it should be. And sometimes you can inadvertently turn something that should be a loan or a debt into an equity just because of the way you treated it when it showed up. So, long story short, as an example, and if Tencent gave in their new subsidiary, paid the money through to this holding company, that's the one that's affected, as one of their payments for buying into that new subsidiary they set up, where all the games are now, all the big games are sitting in that one. If they've paid the money into this, and then whoever the person in charge is basically just gone, no dramas, we'll just pay that straight off this loan, and they haven't quarantined it or run it through a set of accounts properly, that could be considered as loan forgiveness. Then that makes it equity, which means that Tencent could have inadvertently bought a massive amount of equity into this holding company that they didn't mean to, which could have impacted the ownership of that company in the group. Like, there's some pretty... For accountants, it's 101 simple. Put it in here, bounce it through there, wash it through there, bounce it through here, park it in that bank account, shift it to that bank account, and then pay the loan off in a week's time. That's the timing thing. It can be as simple as that, or do it tomorrow. The timing thing is important. If you bounce it straight through in a hurry, without, just go from here to there, without properly categorizing it as it comes through in the accounts, that's why accountants get shat on a lot, but this is really important stuff. If they don't do it properly, this is the outcome. It can be mistakenly put through, and it can have massive adverse effects to it. Now, things they need to trade, they need to halt the trading, and they can't do the earnings call because there's a material issue in the reporting. Then they've got to disclose it in the notes, and they've got to sort it out. But you don't want to have a scheduled call, cancel the call, and trading still open, because a share price that was plummeting anyway is going to be even lower. So because of this, the company altered how it recognised revenue from several deals. Under the new approach, revenue of usage-based partnerships recorded gradually. Yeah, so they changed some other stuff up as well, which this thing affected. And that's partly why Ubisoft has got such a good-looking result. Just they've changed how they're reporting some of this stuff.
Yeah, because when I was looking at the stuff, it was like there was a lot of positive outcomes in that and believe me, I don't understand the talk that you talk unless I'm either going over it with you or looking it up. But it looked like there was a lot of positive coming out of with their earnings call now with this whole Tencent thing. So with those IP, I mean, is there something going on with the IP too, or is it just say, hey, you know what, these generated so much money and everything, and these are very profitable IP? I did, I don't even know what.
It's the IP. So the way that what's integral here is that it's the IP that's the current stuff. It's not the historic stuff that everyone loves. The current stuff that generates cash flow is the stuff that has a value. If it's sitting on the shelf and it's not generating cash flow, then it's effectively valueless.
Right.
It's not. The only way you can value something is either it generates money, generates revenue or cash flow, predominantly cash flow, or you've got a market that you can sell it in. And video game IPs have a really, really restricted market in which you can sell them in. Because basically you've got to put it up for auction and find out who wants to buy it. It's not like real estate, and it's not like vehicles and cars and all that other stuff where you want to sell it, there's a market you can sell it in. It's really specific stuff. And it harks into why PlayStation did the write-down specifically to Destiny 2 the other week in their report, which I thought was interesting. They didn't take a goodwill impairment against the purchase of Bungie. They actually took a write-down on the value of Destiny 2 as an IP. It's stupidly specific stuff, which gives you a great insight into what's going on. Because they've done that, now they're talking about come along and see the next chapter in Destiny, which is probably it. That'll be the last one before Marathon. But anyway, that's PlayStation. This Ubisoft stuff with the games that they've got in this new whatever it's called venture. What's the new subsidiary called? I can't remember what it's called now.
Vantage something?
Vantage Studios.
Yeah.
So the IP that's transitioned over to Vantage Studios with that near $4 billion piece is all the stuff that's generating cash flow for them, which means that Vantage Studios is where they're generating a lot of the money. Which in the way it's been set up, structured, makes sense, because that's where all the value is. What's left over will probably be wound down, shut down, closed up, trimmed back, whatever you want to call it, and quietly pushed to the side. But the benefit of that is I'm saying, there's a cash invest. That's where all the debt was being held, right? And it's in here. The announcement, the completion of Tencent's strategic investment in Vantage Studios. Blah 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 blah. Ubisoft Nova's SAS, built around the Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, and Tom Clancy Rainbow Six franchises, thus securing a €1.16 billion cash investment from Tencent.
Mm-hmm.
Investment values Vantage Studios at a pre-money enterprise value of €3.8 billion and marks a significant milestone, blah, 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 blah. That was the $1.16 billion cash investment that Tencent paid to Ubisoft that they mishandled. But that's important to note, because if they had have done that incorrectly, then this whole venture becomes a null and void point. And it's got some massive ramifications if they've hacked it up really badly. They shouldn't have, but with the new setup, the money that Tencent's put in there has given this new entity a massive valuation, which is a bit inflated. I mean, they're doing this on purpose to try and pump the value up for other reasons, to keep the debt stuff at bay, and they've taken that money and straight away they've paid off this debt. So you can, and with the share price being so low, I really am surprised that they haven't hashed out this who's got 51% and who's got 49% issue. If I was advising Tencent, I'd say just sign the 49%. Take a huge chunk of it. Let them have the 51%. Let them have all the debt stuff. and just don't worry too much about the creative production side of it. Just jump in on this thing and just take a big chunk of it. But put an ops agreement in there that says that you must sign off on or agree to whatever's going on. Because the other alternative is he just gets them to back him privately and he buys the whole thing out and takes it private. That'd be the sensible thing to do.
I saw, and maybe I looked at this wrong, their stock is trading at, I think it was $1.69. Am I right on that, or?
No, it's not that bad. They took a spike after their earnings call, but it's down to €7.03 today. It's still down, well down on where it was compared to this time a month ago. Where are we? 6 months.
Damn.
So in 2021, it was as high as $85 something, 85 euros. And it has capitulated to be, it's lost 91% over the last 5 years of its value.
Holy shit.
Hmm.
Damn.
And they were talking about privatisation when it was back in August to October. When it was $13, $14 a share. It's now half that price. Its market cap for Ubisoft Entertainment SA, which is the entity that's traded, is 1.05 billion euros. They could buy it out for less than, I think it's around 800 million USD. What it's worth.
Wait a minute. You're telling me that Ubisoft is only worth not even $1 billion?
That's what its market cap is. That's not what the value of its assets are. But that's what I was saying before, when they've done this buy-in from Tencent, which has cranked up the value, book value of that part of the company. It's not what the market thinks it's worth. And this all comes off, so share prices are usually driven by the ability to generate returns to the shareholders, and it's not happening. So, end result here is, if Eves wanted to, and his family wanted to privatise it, they could. They just need some cash. And they just got paid a lot more than what the thing is actually worth from Tencent. So, they've paid off a heap of debt, they've got some squirreled away. I don't think this is the end of it, but I genuinely think Ubisoft, they're still angling to take this thing private.
If they, and just real quick, because then we'll jump into the Sony thing real quick, and then I want to do nominations and we'll get out of here. 15 minutes. Both of you guys give me 15 minutes. But if they go private in that, I mean, what does that do to with the company? Does that do anything really to the company? And I mean, does it really change anything?
It does. So the two things it changes. One, it's not they don't have to worry about so much governance work. So the overhead costs reduce dramatically.
Okay.
So you don't have to worry about share market listings and investor calls and all that stuff. And it might not sound like much. We're talking about millions and millions and tens of millions of dollars worth of costs every year for these big companies to be listed on stock exchanges. And the additional reporting requirements and regulatory shit that goes on, where you just don't have to do it anymore. Privatising it means that the creative control becomes a lot less of an issue, or the control part of it, and decisions can be made a lot quicker, and they don't need to have shareholder involvement. They still need a board of governance oversight to make sure they're doing things correctly, but they don't have to worry about as much about shareholder returns, so they can take a bit more of a more gusto in their decision making. They can take a bit more risk in their decision making. The downside to it means that it's their money, their skin in the game now, not somebody else's skin. So it'll depend on those who've got a financial investment or financially invested in the decisions as to what decisions they'll take. But if you want to call it the crux of the whole point here is do we want Eves, or does gaming in general want Eves to have ultimate control over a company that he probably is on the back end of leaving, or should be on the back end of getting out? He's not exactly a spring chicken, and he's not exactly covering himself in glory with a lot of the stuff that he's done, but he's no different to Randy Pitchford anyway. The privatisation of it, there'll be people that jump up and down and scream about it and carry on, but the privatisation of Ubisoft will mean that 5 years ago, the 4 big tier 2 publishers that were all publicly traded will have dropped down to being three left, and only one of them's publicly traded, which would be Take-Two. EA's private. There's no way EA's not going to be private. That's a done deal. Too much money going to too many influential people, and the ABK deal paved the road for it. They've got a precedent that they can look back and point to. The dumbasses that let that one through. So EA's going private. ABK got acquired by Microsoft. EA's going private. And Ubisoft, what I'm seeing is they're taking a very long time to get there, but it's going to land privately as well. You know, it'll either be privately owned by Tencent or Gilmont, or a blend of the two. It'll just depend on who gets there first. And so the only one left then will be Take-Two. But if Take-Two don't hurry up and get GTA 6 finished and sorted and find a way of generating some more cash flow, they might not even exist either. So.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Anyway, that's okay, because we're still going to have plenty of indie games and AA games, and plenty of those other smaller publishers are getting around. 505, Focus Home, Volva. Like, there's fucking heaps of them, man.
David, you're going to love next month when we come back, because the games I'm going to shower you with, you'll be...
You better not say golden.
You're not going to be shocked. You're going to be like, yeah. Because you love... I'm going to sit there and say I love indies probably as much as...
You didn't get a response there, but I understood the reference there, David.
I got nothing from him. Throwing out the good ones, and
I don't even think he heard it, man.
Wait, hear what? What did
you had to be there, mate. You had to be there.
Be where? What am I missing here?
You want to explain it to him, Retro?
You said you were going to shower him, and he said, as long as it's not golden, we're okay.
I did not. That's disgusting, and I did not hear that. You know what? I'm staying away from it, David. David, I'm just going to stay away from it, because last time I put something in video form, the look, and then after that, I'm not going there. So let's do this. We'll hit Sony real quick, and then we'll do a couple minutes on the nominees real quick. So I just want to sit there and say, so Sony, it seemed like their financials, they just came out pretty good for them. You know, they made some money. I was hearing a lot of this, though. And David, maybe you can correct me. Retro, you correct me, too. But I don't know. I heard that Ghost of Yotai really, really flopped.
It did. It flopped into a great big pool of cash.
3.3 million copies? Where the hell did Retro go now?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. My screen is all messed up.
Phone's probably playing up. It did a great big backflop into a big pool of cash.
I heard you on Brap, and you sat there and said, I think the budget was, what, 60 to 70 million or something like that? And then this 3.3 or even more, you're like, yo, they made all that and then some.
Yeah, they've basically funded the next. Even when you carve out all the, $70 is what we're paying. That's not necessarily what they're getting all the time, depending on how it was purchased.
Right.
Because obviously you can buy digital and Sony gets all the money, or they've got costs to pull out of it. But if it's going retail, then the retailer's getting it, and there's a trade-off effect and all the rest of that. But even if you factor all that in, 3.3 million copies at $70 a hit, and it only costs 60 to 70 million to make. They've just funded their next 2 games, got enough money there to keep the thing rolling for a decade, and they've put money in the bank twice over. As I said in the tweet, publisher got paid, the dev studio got paid, everyone's making bank. It's not like they're getting a little bit of cash flow on the home. It's in the bank. It's done. Fucking finished. Who cares? Move on. It's if it's sold not one more unit, no one is going to care, and that line is going to care. They just go, great, we had a crackingly good one, let's go to the next one. We don't have to worry about money.
David, let me throw this out there to you, and maybe you can tell me I'm wrong on this too. You sitting there and you're saying 3.3 million, 70 at $70. I sit there and I go, well, you also have to include, because I got it, and I'm sure maybe 100,000 people got it, but the $270, edition, they had one underneath of it. They're selling controllers. They're selling the PlayStations themselves. Okay, the Ghost of Yotai PS5 Pro or whatever. So just like you sat there and said, the money's in the bank. They're making all this money off of all this other stuff besides the game too, right?
Yeah, it's the 200. It's an over 250% ROI. And annualized, if you annualize it over the whole period, it's still in excess of 40% ROI. It's not. That's as a base, and that's just using the game sales as a baseline. If you then put all the other stuff in, which sells at margins that are profitable, this is what they do. Like everyone says, oh, they don't make enough games, they don't release enough games. You do that twice a year, who cares?
This is coming from
you're sitting back. You're sitting back, taking your 12 to 30% off your storefront, and your licensing fee for anyone who does them physical, and you've got all that sideline revenue that flows through. And then you go, right, well, games being sold, add-ons being sold, all the rest of it. PlayStation's business model is 75% third party, the 25% first party, or 80% third party, 20% first party these days. They do that twice a year. Well, who cares? It keeps the studio going till the next one comes through. And this is why, again, Naughty Dog did all those remasters and remakes. They needed to keep something coming through until they get the next big one hit. If Intergalactic hits and does 3 to 5 million units, there's your next game. And the one after. And it's in the bank. And no one cares. No one gives a rat's ass if it's attachment rates or if it's this or it's that. And those that argue these, Sony cares about attachment rates. Sony cares about attachment rates for peripherals. Sony cares about attachment rates for specific things. They don't give a rat's ass if, at this point, the sequel to one of their one of their best games that closed out the PS4 generation, appears to have a low attach rate after 3 days. Or 10 days, or whatever the fuck it was. No one gives a rat's ass.
And yet I sit there and I see these tweets of, and again, this is the reason why I just, I took Retro's steps. I'm not blocking anybody. I might mute you because your tweets get utterly annoying and all that shit. But I just sit there and it's like, oh, this okay. You know what? Yeah, flopped. I'll go by somebody who actually knows money, how to figure out where money needs to go, because he works for a company and that is his job. It's not, it's not like these idiots on Twitter going, oh yeah, it only sold 3.3 million, but yeah, Sony has 84 million, consoles out there. That's an extremely low attach rate. Well, I can understand it. You have a budget of 60 million. Take 3.3 million into $70. I don't have a calculator in there in that, what, 200?
What do you want to do?
210, maybe $250 million.
Oh, the 3.3 million at $70 is 231 million.
And it's off of a budget that was
60 million.
60 million. Let me see. If I'm doing my math, that's around 170 million or so dollars that it made. So
Pretty close.
They made their $60 million back, and then
I think it made more than that personally. If you throw in the different editions and the extras,
right.
I think overall the IP is definitely raked in more than that for them.
So
I mean, I bought all the shit. I bought the 2 controllers. I bought the covers.
Oh, no.
I bought the collector's edition.
He bought the cat night and bought the clothes off the line.
Yeah, I took everything. I took a bit of the fucking company with me, man. I'm telling you.
They tripled it.
No, I'm not saying that. Obviously, I'm the extreme. You know what I mean? That's the extreme. But that number doesn't really account for people like me, because there are people out there that done the exact same thing as me, man.
Listen. Battlefield 6.
But don't forget though, the game's getting it on 2 fronts. It's getting it from the normal fanboy behavior online.
Right.
But then it's also getting attacked from the kind of the political side of things and the whole social justice bullshit and all of that social whatever you want to call it, man. So it's kind of you're getting a cross section of these 2 different worlds kind of intersecting, which is all bullshit, man. It's just done for clicks and grifting.
That Smash guy.
The influencer lifestyle.
My answer is always simple. Just play the game and decide for yourself, man. I personally enjoyed the shit out of it. I loved the game. I thought the character Atsu was awesomely portrayed by the actress. I don't care what her political leanings are, because that's not what's in the game. She is a voice actor, so I don't have to agree with people to compensate or to enjoy their work, and as long as they're not outright evil people and they're not hurting children and stuff like that, then I'm good. So yeah, for me, you have to play the game, man. All this noise is just noise, man. It's best to ignore it. You would know if it done well or not. If it didn't do well, you would hear reports of the studio losing staff or Sony being unhappy, but they've reported it as they're very pleased with the progress, and Sony would know better than anybody whether what they've seen come back it has been worth it, and clearly they're happy with it because they said it was a major hit.
Right.
So as far as I'm concerned, once Sony say yeah this was a hit, that's the conversation done. They know better than anyone. They know their own numbers.
Oh, they do. They've got hundreds of people who work on this stuff. But just, I'll just close out on this. $60 million budget over 5 years or 6 years or something? Between...
I think it was 5.
Tsushima came out in July 2020, and this has come out in October 2025. And I know people argue, they would have been working on it beforehand, past that. Up until Tsushima launched, 99% of people were focused on that game. And for the 6 months after it, the 9 months after it, they were focused on that game because they had the Legends mode and all that sort of stuff that comes through. Yotei's it's about to get New Game Plus and a heap of other stuff and some additional stuff for Legends mode, and all these other things are still coming down the pipeline. That's the ROI that's coming out of this stuff. Even the annualized is 30% annualized return on investment. It's like those are numbers that you would have investors killing each other to get. They would climb over each other and give you their left testicle to be able to get those kind of ROIs in anywhere else. I am not kidding. there are big money investors who would gladly lose $200 million in the first 5 years to get $1 billion payoff at year 10. That's the kind of money that the long form money. Most of the time they're not playing with their own money, but that's what that you get the idea. The fact that they've $60 million budget and within the first 2 weeks they've basically paid the budget for their next 3 games. They've generated enough money to pay definitely for the next 2, very likely for the next 3 games. That is longevity and success. And that's why I say no one gives a rat's ass about attachment rates or all this other crap that's all floating around it, whether the boycott worked, it didn't work, the inputs on this, the outputs on that. No one cares. Where the metal meets the meat, it's performed. Sony said it hit and exceeded their expectations, and it's done a good job. That's all that matters. Because Sony won't fuck around if it doesn't. We've seen it plenty of times. Games get killed before they even get seen by people. And they'll get killed when $20, $30, $40 million has been invested in it if they don't think it's going to achieve it. Very rarely does Sony ever let anything get to market and then kill it afterwards. I've seen it. We've seen the last 15 years, we've seen them get games to market and then try to fix them. But we have only once can I remember Sony getting a game to market and then killing it. In the last
I can only think of one.
Can we please get an Infamous? Or even like a remaster? I'll take a remaster.
Nah, man, I want a new story. We need Cole back, man. We need Cole back, and we need Delzin as the baddie. We need it to be the fact that it was him that was actually going to be the baddie the whole time, and not a version of Cole. Because
even generations, that's the old generation. We want new stuff.
All right.
Nah, I would love a new Infamous. I really would, but I wouldn't like it to be their main focus. I don't think.
Listen. I wish they would do this, and every studio. If I did a studio, and we're going to get into the nominees because I got to get you guys out of here, and I got to
go. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick. I wish Sony would sit there. But both Retro and I'm sure David would sit there and say yes. I would love to have a ton of these games all remastered and whatever else. Why don't they just take like a small team? They're starting up. They're getting they're a fresh team in that. Do a couple of these projects. Okay, see what happens. There can't be you're not going to be throwing a ton of money into this. Get your feet wet into this. It gets you situated, and then you sit there and say, all right, now we can just move you on to other projects. I wish Sony would do something like that. I'd love to see them remake, Killzones, the Resistances, Infamouses, stuff like that. But, all right, 5 minutes, and we're out of here. Nominees. Do you guys agree with the nominees for Game of the Year on the MTV Jeff Keighley Awards? Retro?
I don't have feelings one way or the other. It is what it is.
Did you see the nominees?
Right. Yeah.
What ones?
Fucking media awards.
I know you played Death Stranding.
Yeah, I did. And I played Ghost of Yotai and
Claire Obscura.
Nope, not my type of game. It's a turn-based game.
Okay. Hades.
He doesn't like taking turns. He likes button bashing.
Yep.
Well, I mean, so do I. Brad tried getting me to play it. I'm like,
Yeah, people keep trying to get me to get it. I'm just not having it.
You guys that hate the game I'm playing at the moment, then.
What's that?
Unicorn Overlord.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
It's Sega and Vanillaware. I absolutely love it. So it's like a turn-based strategy game, except you don't actually have turn-basing. It's not turn-based within the fight itself.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as you engage with an enemy, whatever the preset priority orders are of your people that you've got in your party, the battle will just happen itself.
Oh.
And the game comes about. The game comes about where you've got to either change the priority orders or change the makeup of your party to try and, it's kind of like chess, to try and outthink what the other one's going to do. And it's strategy in that aspect. But yeah, everything is my turn, your turn, time turn based and all the rest of it.
The only answer I can give to you on that is no. I'm not interested in that, David. I'm sorry. But listen, both of you guys would sit there and say, I ain't playing that shit that you're playing, because I have not. I got like almost 200 hours into Battlefield 6. I have to stop playing that game. I have to.
Hey, don't.
Yeah,
Play it as long as you like. It's what's there to enjoy. What are you going to do? Move on to something else and then you're going to go, oh, I want to go back to Battlefield 6 and feel shit? Just keep playing it.
When I give you my list next month, you're going to be sitting there going, you ain't never going to have time to sit there and play Battlefield 6.
And how are you going to get to 100 platinums? Mayo 2, Mayo 3,
Oh, no.
Red.
I set rules, David. I set rules. I set my own rules. None of that shovelware shit. I'll go over it with you. I will go over it with you. None of that taco run, dog run, donut run, all that other bullshit. Yes, unfortunately, I do have one or two of those games in, more like 10. Hey, all I got to say is the breakthrough games, I'm supporting Christianity. That's all I got to say. I gave them $1 for their game. I'm supporting Christianity. That's.
So, obviously, you're going to do all the Souls games as part of this run.
Oh, you out of your mind, man. You out of your mind.
I know, yeah, you're going to do all the... You know the easy way to do it is do all the Lego games.
No, I've done a little bit of research on that. Dude, I won't be able to go through one in 3 months. I heard they take forever.
Oh yeah, they're forever games, those things. I'll give you the drum. Unless you're really committed to taking a lifetime to do anything, don't try and platinum any of the mainline Yakuza games. They require you to get certain scores in the old Sega arcade games. And they're like, was it Jet Rush 2 or something like that? Or Moto Jet 2 or whatever it is, and you got to get like 3 million points. It takes hours, like hundreds of hours to do it. So anyway, you were going to talk about nominees.
Go ahead.
No, you were going to talk about them.
No, I want to find out, what about you? Do you agree with the nominees for Game of the Year?
I don't think I've played any of the Game of the Year nominees. Well, I think it's widely well known my perspective on the award shows. The Game Awards is the Media Darlings Award.
Mm-hmm.
It's the setup, the structure, the governance is good. I applaud what Jeff Keighley has set up. I just don't think that it's the right people and the right organisations voting on it, but they keep comparing it to the Oscars, which is voted on by the foreign press. So it's fair enough. The 120-something media outlets from around the world get to nominate their games, and then they get aggregated, and then they get to vote on what the outcomes will be. It's fine. The media is entitled to have their awards ceremony. It's just when people crack the shits at Jeff about it, and they're surprised as to how did this happen. It's like, well, duh. It's because all the gaming media that's involved in the voting panels, this is what they liked, and it's not like a broad approach of everyone in that particular media organisation got the vote. It's like 3 or 4 people just got an email, pulled up the voting list, and started rattling stuff off late on a Friday night. That's basically how this awards things work, and Jeff charges a shitload of money for people to advertise at it. So, a credit to Jeff for setting up something that he can make a decent amount of money off and get a fair bit of attention, stroke a few egos and had a few pockets, and then the media feels like they've got influence over the whole thing, which is what they always want. DICE Awards, that's voted on by the peers. That's the one that I watch the closest. The DICE Awards are a great indicator about what the industry thinks of who's doing well in the industry. I just wish they'd get a couple of new hosts, because I can't stand one of them. And the other part to it is joysticks, which is all fan voted. And Gold Joysticks Awards is just wrapping up, and if you have a look at the outcomes of that, it'll give you a great indication about what players thought. And it was shared fairly evenly across a few of these games that are nominated for the TGA Game of the Year. I think it's going to be an absolute cakewalk for Claire Obscurian 33 into the Game of the Year. Though I don't think it's going to get that many awards. I think a heap of other games, like Ghost of Yotei, for example, or Death Stranding 2, or Split Fiction or someone like that, is going to get an absolute monster of sub-awards. They're just not going to win the main one. And there's form. You've seen form with that happening across the years when Sony's released a game, PlayStation released a game, and it is an absolute pinnacle point, and it's more recent, and the main contender was a double A or a third party one way back in the start, because it happened with, I think it was God of War Ragnarok, smashed everything, didn't win Game of the Year. And then a couple of years before that, I think it happened, I can't remember which one it happened with, was it Horizon Zero Dawn? It might have been. Smashed everything, didn't win Game of the Year. It's just got that everything is brilliant. It just, when they get to the end, it's almost like they go, you know what, we've given this one enough awards, we'll just give it to that one. They can have Game of the Year. Now, all of them are probably very valid to be nominated for it. You know, it just really comes down to what does the game, the media organisations on that voting panel feel or think is their darling game for the year, and that's really all it comes down to. There's no metrics on what game highest rated or most consistently highest rated, or the ratings across this, or how did it perform. There's no benchmarks for it. They're just sitting and go, I think this.
See, I'm going to have a homework assignment for you guys next show, because when we come back in January, I want to do our own game awards. What maybe 3 or 5 categories. We all put our picks, and it has to be games that we played this year. It can't be, hey, what came out all of this year? No, it has to be what we played this year. Because in all honesty, I get, and I totally agree with what you're sitting there and you're saying, David. I think the media doesn't know what they're doing. Just, you said, hey, this one won all these awards. It won 20 awards, but let's give it to this one because it won all these awards. It's like, if it's the best game, it should get the award. If it's best design, best music, shit like that, give it to them. Stop, and I think it's more like, didn't, was it Ghost of Yotei? That just won Game of the Year at what? Was that Joysticks?
It got best audio design. It didn't even get nominated for, oh no, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong list. Sorry, let me tell you. It won Console Game of the Year.
Okay.
So this is crazy. They've got PC Game of the Year, which went to Hollow Knight Silksong. Console Game of the Year went to Ghost of Yotei. And then Ultimate Game of the Year went to Claire Obscurian 33. Yeah.
So that's, both platforms would be Ultimate.
Well, that's the theory, but it wasn't. So PC Game of the Year and Console Game of the Year didn't have Claire Obscurian 33 in either of those nomination lists.
But it
But in Ultimate Game of the Year, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 12 games listed.
Huh. That doesn't make any sense.
But Joysticks does a really interesting way of doing it, because they'll say nominations are open. Come in here and tell us from this massive list of games what you think you should be nominated. You start banging some buttons and send it in. And they go, here's the list, go in and vote. And people just go in and vote, so it's like a 2-round voting. It's a triage and then final vote. And then whatever spits out at the end, that's who gets the award.
Oh, wow. Huh.
Yep. The only thing at the Golden Joystick Awards that it looks like, the only thing that isn't voted on by the public is the Streamer's Choice Award, the Breakthrough Award, and the Hall of Fame, and Critics' Choice.
That's also going to be a part of our... and then you guys are going to have to pick your Hall of Fame game, and you gotta explain why you picked it. But that, again, that's for January. I give it plenty of time for you guys to think about.
But even the sub awards at the Joystick Awards, Claire Obscurian 33's picked up a heap of awards there. Best soundtrack, best male, best female lead. What else did we get? Sandfall Interactive got Studio of the Year. It got best visual, design, and best storytelling.
Can you guys give me 30 seconds, and then when I come down, I guess if you guys got to wrap up, we'll start wrapping up. I got something real quick. I'll be right back.
Yeah, you're right. We need to wrap up.
He's going to shit himself. He's going to shit himself. He's going to shit himself.
Look at him go. He told us an hour ago that it was just 5 more minutes.
Yeah, timekeeping's terrible.
It is. It's horrible. Oh, he's got a Secret Labs bat chair. Look at that.
It does look good, doesn't it?
It does. He didn't tell us
Just think, when he comes back, he's going to listen to this later and hear us talking, so... For that, he's a little bitch. He's a little bitch.
Yeah, he could do worse, but that's exactly. I'll tell you, every time he does this to us, Retro, he fucks us every time. It's driving me nuts.
All the time, man.
Oh, he's back. He's back. Shh, he's back.
What the hell's going on here, man? I had to go turn the light.
Just yanking your chain. I'm just yanking your chain, mate.
All right, we're gonna. I
gotta go.
I'm gonna get everybody out of here. David, start us off. Where can everybody find you? Just like I sat there and said, everybody's socials is in the description, but tell everybody anyway.
Find me there at Forky87 on X, formerly known as Twitter, and you can find me poking around a few different podcasts. Any questions, queries, or comments, hit me up. Always happy for a chat. At the moment, as I said before, I'm playing Unicorn Overlord, and that's probably going to be my game for the next couple of months. Enjoy Christmas if I don't talk to you before then.
Oh, we have a show right before Christmas. And David, you need to send me your address. So, I have no idea what the hell I did with it. But, yeah. Send me your address so I can send you something. Retro. Take us on out, buddy. Where can...
Same place as always. XTSX Retro. And that's it. Because I'm not on anything else.
Yeah, basically same here, too. I mean, I'm on other socials. I just don't communicate.
Yeah, don't use them.
Yeah. I mean, I watch a lot of TikTok. Because the Battlefield 6, so... I ain't going to get into that. But listen, real quick, what have you been playing lately?
A mix of things, really. Obviously, I started out with the Death Stranding 2 a little earlier. And then I went on to Ghost of Yotai, finished that up. Went to Alan Wake 2, finished that. What else did I do? Oh, I went back to The Last of Us 2 and finally got the platinum.
Oh, my son.
Them collectibles are ridiculous.
My son is two trophies away from the platinum on Last of Us, and he's going to start the platinum run for Last of Us 2. Oh, what the
That's
fuck is
good.
wrong with you, man?
Oh,
my
that's very
God.
good, man. That's very good. But yeah, V Racer is the VR game I've been playing most lately. Yeah, I was speaking about it earlier. Like I said, I'm in love with that game at the minute.
Damn it.
So no, it's all good. I said pretty much what I needed to say about it anyway, man. But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing, man.
When I'll put it to you guys this way, whoever's listening, which I have no idea who's even listening in that. Next show we're going to do probably about 30 minutes. We'll just go over the Keeleys real quick. And then the rest of the time is just going to be game talk. Like I said, I'm going to bug the shit out of these guys on a bunch of stuff that I'll have my list ready for you guys. There's a bunch of games in there I know David has played. Definitely some for retro because I'm challenging myself on this one. And playing games I would never play, but I'm going to do it. But that's what we're going to talk about next time. And then January, like I said, we're going to do our own award show. You know, that's all we're going to sit here and talk about. Again, this is a gaming podcast. Let's talk about games. Sure, we could talk about news, but let's talk about games. That is going to do it for us. Huh?
Spent most of the day talking about comic book.
Yeah, this isn't a comic book show. But
it could be.
But
It could be.
In January, we will get to stuff like that because there's going to be another show that we're going to talk about all that kind of shit. So I'll put that out there for everybody. Yeah, because we like talking about games, but we want to talk about some other stuff. I know for a fact David is huge into music because he's a goddamn musician. You know? Retro wants to sit there and talk about other things, music and stuff like that. That's what we're going to do. So let's get out of here. I have one last annoying video for everybody to take a look at. But December 20th, we'll be back, 3:15. Check us out. And that's going to do it for the rest of us tonight. So everybody have a great one. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks. Later, everybody. Enjoy the outro. Here you go. It's not playing. Like everything today. What is going on? Why is this not playing? Here, wait a minute. We'll get back to that. This isn't playing. All right, we're going to get the hell out of here anyway.